We had a window here. There, what? Things disappeared. Okay. Okay, apparently doing that's gonna be stupid. So anyway, I almost didn't stream today because I've been handling or I'm co-lead for a ISO audit this week, and it is exhausting. So I instead decided I'm going to stream and just get a really big can of booze. This thing's huge. It's a local meadery that does get right off the tap. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that pizza?
Well, I am streaming.
Oh yeah, but I was asking what you thought of the pizza. I got something different.
It's good. It's fat. It's fat pizza. Stream nights are only pizza or something quick because not much time between working now. So I wasn't able to finish this weekend, but I actually made progress. I did the part that sucked. So I think the first part was already done.
Saving the planet, recyclers.
But I was working on the next
Mission
part.
accomplished.
So that part is new.
Mission accomplished.
Actually, now that I think about it, it's actually not that far from done.
Mission accomplished.
Now that I look at this, though,
Mission accomplished. Mission.
I wonder if let's see here. Right now, his eyes during this part are they made to look down like he's looking away. I'm thinking instead.
Accomplished. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
Okay, so I gotta be careful. So this part I'm just gonna round it. But what I'm thinking about doing is I'm gonna do like an eye roll. That's good.
Heck. He looks so angry. He's like looking right down at something like, I want to kill it. You're dead.
It's like Ebenezer Scrooge when somebody takes a penny.
There. You burned too much coal.
It works better from further away. But anyway, no, I was gonna. This is pretty close to done. I did some work over the weekend, but I need to. I want to have to do a little bit of an eye roll.
Really sell that sarcasm, eh?
Okay, I think that'll work. It's just during the time the eye is up, I need to have it transition a little bit. Actually, that won't work. So it starts over here. Oh, okay, I have to do it from here to here to here, I think. You need to drop the eyes a little bit at that point. No, that's a little bit weird going back that far. Maybe go a little bit that way. Maybe delay the eyes a little bit. If I delayed this part. That's fine, I just need to now move the eyes back. Is he angry during this? No, that's about as far up as I'm gonna get the eyes.
He looks old man angry. In that shot. Got that lip pretty far forward.
He's missing some teeth.
Yeah, it looks like it. And yet, he has lots of them. And no toothbrush, so that's why he's so angry.
I wonder if I can take these two. I wish I had like ability to grab the eyebrows. I'd really like to get them up even higher. Oh, you know what? No, I know. If you can't move something up higher, you move this moment before down lower. It makes it seem more extreme.
Accomplished. Mission accomplished.
I think that'll work.
Accomplished. 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 Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Accomplished.
I think the so brow up stays. See, but this is still going up at this point. That's because brow down is continuing. So I think this needs to stay like this.
Mission accomplished.
Or it'll go quicker.
Accomplished. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Accomplished. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
It's like Rathalos.
Mission accomplished.
His horde is just junk.
Okay, and then the eye close starts a little bit right here. I'm actually going to pull that in a bit earlier. I want the eyes open a little bit less for a lot of that.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
It seems like such a small thing to focus on the eyes, but that's what most people look at. So the more detail you have on it, the better off you are. Okay, let's focus on, if they're talking, the lips are more important. Otherwise the eyes, or just focus on the eyes to be safe. Then any facial expression followed by hands or limbs, and then from there, who cares? You can get away with anything. But it's just that most people, they only look at one thing, and that's right here.
Rathalos going, hey, I'm up here.
Mission accomplished.
It's just if you're talking with somebody, you don't like look at their ear unless there's something really awkward with their ear. But
or they have a mole.
Yeah, mole. But the main thing, otherwise, is think about what you look at when you look at people. What you look at the most, and it's always the eyes. And
you're supposed to, but
well, I know, but that's because it's awkward to look at somebody. But in a video, there's no awkwardness.
Yeah.
Understood. Good. It's
fail.
Yeah, so it's about focusing on the eyes. So to me, the super minor little details put into the eyes make a huge difference. And for in this case, sarcasm is hard to get across sometimes because sarcasm is something that is not. It can be implied in the tone, but for the most part, I mean, this one is obviously in the tone, but a lot of it is facial and body. The way that you represent yourself and you show yourself.
Saving the planet, recyclers. Mission accomplished.
So there is going to be this gap right here because he doesn't move at all here. But that's actually pretty easy. What I was thinking about doing though was trying to relate this again to where it's not sounding so negative against I'm actually trying to bash real recyclers or something. So I was thinking about putting a sign back here that said New World Recycling.
Go on.
What I wish I could have it be implied with is that their society is so fucking wasteful that they don't give a shit. But there's no way to imply that in a sign. But then at least it puts it in that world instead of me making fun of this one. Plus, it provides a little bit more context to everything after this. I mean, there's a big pile of trash.
I feel like this whole thing just implies people didn't recycle.
Or I could actually have it put up a sign that says ancient forest, but then in big paint over it says New World Recycling. Because they turned his forest into a junkyard.
I mean, it was. I feel like it should say landfill, not recycling.
New World landfill.
Yeah. Because,
okay, I can see that.
Yeah,
okay,
because this is the result of recycling's fail.
I did have to add a couple trash bags when I did this because when he puts his head down, I need to make sure his head actually landed on some bags. Mm-hmm. The problem is the bags I'm using. I was hoping to originally find one that had a bunch of bags, but then individual bags that looked the same, because then I could push them out of the way. Hello, Skylight. There's so much light. Oh yeah, I know. Well, because it's now, it's daytime during the day.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Yeah, no, look at this.
Turn down the bloom.
See, now it just got dark inside. It's the same otherwise. But you can't even see out there. It's just literally.
It is kind of hazy.
Kind of icky?
Hazy.
Oh, I think it said icky. I'm like, it's not death-defying cold.
I mean, I do prefer an overcast.
Well, yeah, because that's all that Kentucky was.
Yeah, it's like home. Just constant overcast.
My preference is 50-50 clouds and sun and probably high 60s.
My preference is high 60s, but complete overcast, no sunlight.
Well, yeah, but how would you even know? Because you're going to have your shade shut anyway.
Yeah. But if I...
Because there's probably times you come down and you'll be like, oh, it's still day?
If it wasn't for the sun, I wouldn't even need curtains.
But if it wasn't for the sun, we'd all, not be alive.
Yeah, well... You can't have everything.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I have there's my fireplace. I'm actually charging my vacuum, so that's just sitting down there. The couch. There's my TV and stand. I actually just redid a lot of that recently.
You'll notice there's no dirt pieces in this room. It's a horrible crime.
Nope. I do have some horses up behind the camera though. There's my diploma and YouTube thingy.
The diploma's
and then you
fake.
can.
I'm not even.
There's the kitchen. over there, which is also very bright. But that's about as far my core is going to go. So the kitchen's there, the dining room, and then the bedrooms are upstairs. There.
I'm just now realizing that none of the Legends of Equestria figurines included Derpy. That's upsetting.
So yeah. I like it here. I wish the sun was out because it's actually the one thing I really like about this place is when in the summer there's a lot of wood, and so the sun coming through in the morning just lights this room up orange, and then in the evening the dining room just gets super bright. So it's super nice. Now I put a lot of time into trying to like put stuff together and stuff. Well, like I just got the stands on the left and right, but that TV stand is actually I got for free. It has a giant forklift hole through the bottom of it. I used to work in damaged freight, and that was an item that was damaged there. And it's like a multi-$100 thing because it's super heavy, real wood, but it has glass in the front, and it's really nice finish. But it's free because nobody's going to take it. But it's a fork hole through the bottom, and so all I did was I put originally a stereo on top of it, and you couldn't even tell that there was a fork hole because there's a stereo on it. And even with it there, because we kind of pushed it down, you barely could notice. So it works for me. It was free.
And one of the
nice
reasons this room's so nice is because I'm not allowed to have anything in it. All my stuff stays upstairs.
But anything you'd put in here, you would never even use because I'm the one that stays here.
What do you use?
I use the TV.
That's it. You don't use the...
I use the couch.
Okay, well that's...
And I put stuff on the counter, the table. I've used the fireplace.
Yeah.
I used the clock. Apparently, they call it
fireplace is
time.
installed in the wall. That one doesn't count. You can't move
I used this whole third of the room.
I'm just saying, how do you use the dog meat?
How do you use all the pictures on your wall? How do you use all your plushies?
Well, we can't talk about that.
You had to get a second bookshelf just to hold your plushes.
They need booped. I still have pony stuff I have put away in the closet because I have nowhere to put it.
That's actually the reason I got the shelves over there because I had a lot of knick-knacky stuff and I just didn't have anywhere to put it. Though once it gets darker, the shelves are a little darker too, so I want to get like a little cover and LED lights across each strip, and then have them just sit low, kind of like I have the blue light behind the TV. And these are all LED lamps too, or colored Wi-Fi bulbs, so I can change the color, so I can make the whole room blue if I want.
It's weird. I did manage to sneak one little tiny wooden derpy onto the fridge. But other than that, this room is pretty free of derpies.
I used to have for years in the main living room we had a derpy.
Where is the giant derpy? I almost forgot about giant derpy.
I have like $2,000 worth of plushes just sitting in my closet.
You need all the derpies downstairs.
I think if I made that bigger, it would look weird. Because I would have to make it big enough.
I didn't just change the text on it.
Well, I think also if I use this color of wood,
you put any wood text
I need to put text on it, but then text on top of that, and still with both readable.
Why would you have to put text on top of text?
Because I wanted to have it say Ancient Forest and then have it crossed off and say New World Landfill. But that would be hard. 1.5 meter long. That's huge.
Ferret?
There's a couple things I've seen that are really cool. Like, so I have a picture that's in a nicer barnwood frame of Rathlos over my wall here, and I wanted to put it on one side, and I want to find another picture for the other side. But it has like an old world like drawing look. It's really, really cool. But I can't find anything to match the other side because it's unique. But I want to get two pictures, but then I have this like horizontal bit above the TV that I don't know what to do, and so that's where it's like I could get like a super nerdy like sword or something, but it's like I don't know what to get because everything's expensive and I'm cheap.
I'm cheap.
You're cheaper.
I did just spend $350 on a derby.
Oh yeah, that. I was like, wait, what? But that was for a good
That
cause.
was for a good cause, yeah. I wouldn't have spent that otherwise.
I wonder if something like this would work.
Oh, that's way better than the other sign you were looking at.
Cause well, the other one for wood would fit the aesthetic of it, but I also like this because it's so industrial.
Yeah, like a landfill's gonna be very industrial. Like, just plop down the middle of the forest.
I like that. We're gonna do this. I'm just gonna take a little bit of modification, but
You just change the texture on it.
no, I'm gonna keep the texture. I'm just gonna change the text
Can you change the text without, like, changing the whole texture?
with magic.
Well, I'm prepared to see this much.
There we go. Oh, that is not the right game, though.
It's been hurting me lately with this whole pandemic. I've been having to buy name brand products because a lot of the cheaper products are gone. They get eaten up by the hoarders. So I have to actually buy like Jif brand peanut butter instead of like whatever the store brand is.
No, you didn't get crunchy.
I'll get crunchy next time.
Crunchy.
I know, I messed up.
No, that's fine. I was eating the store brand Target peanut butter for a while.
Yeah.
But I only got that because I knew that when it came to peanut butter sandwich you would eat, it was probably going to be the cheapest peanut butter I could find, and that would be your favorite.
I actually used to like this one peanut butter I'd find at a Myers. I don't know if you guys got Myers around here. It wasn't even allowed to call itself peanut butter.
Oh, peanut spread?
It was peanut spread.
Yeah.
And that stuff was tasty.
I think I brought it up before, but if you ever want to see a really, really interesting story, look up the peanut butter and jelly wars of like the 1980s, I think it was.
Yeah.
Where it was like an 8-year war in legislation regarding how much peanut or what the limit of the amount of peanuts would be before it would cross into peanut spread. Because it costs more money to have more peanuts. So if they said that there was only 95% peanuts instead of 97, that was 2% that they could save money on. And I can't remember the margin is, but it's a decent margin. But they wanted it as low as possible so that they could just shove other crap in there. But so if you ever see peanut butter and it's called peanut spread, it's because at least in America, by law, they can't. There's not enough peanuts to call it peanut butter, so don't buy it.
I think so. I had that one peanut spread. It was pretty good. But I know.
Well, yeah, because it's got a bunch of other crap in there. It's not really. It's not even that much peanut.
Yeah.
That's why like the Trader Joe's ones I like because it just says ingredients peanuts. It is 100% peanut. Mm-hmm. It is just, and it's crunchy and it's separated, but it's just rich. It's not sweet. It's not anything but peanut, and I love it because I mix it with other stuff. Like I do my banana and chia seed sandwich.
I know over in Europe, American cheese is not legally allowed to be called cheese in the EU because it doesn't.
That sounds like the most American
cheese.
thing we could have.
Huh?
That sounds like the most American thing we could have. A
What,
cheese
American?
that we can't even call cheese.
Over in Europe, they're not because it doesn't fit the definition of cheese, and it really isn't cheese. It's not even made the same way. I don't remember the exact process for making American cheese, but it's essentially not the process for making all other cheese.
I liked Giz had posted the picture the one time, and I loved it. It was with cows. Yeah, here it is.
A lot of moves. Is your milkshake really worth it? I feel sorry for the cow.
They probably have it because of like something with injury or something came
Maybe
in place.
it's a
But
prize cow. Maybe they're trying to get it.
but I love it. All right, that made me laugh good. It makes me laugh every time.
That poor cow.
Yeah, I know. I agree. The pandemic is saving money, but at the same time, it's causing a slow loss of sanity. Like right now, I'm in the middle of being sub-lead for a ISO audit, and for this week, and
Wonderful club.
there is like yesterday was absolute hell. I almost was planning not to stream today because I was expecting it to be another bad day, but today started rough, but it got better. But the having to handle an audit where you have to provide evidence within a good amount of time to somebody that's over the internet but because of security restrictions, we can't allow some stuff off of company property. So we can't show certain things, and since we're not everybody's on site, people are hard to get a hold of. It's just caused a huge headache and having to deal with ITAR, and it's just.
So not being able to get a hold of people was a big part of the problem yesterday.
It was, but the biggest part of the problem yesterday was they wanted to see a certain project. That fits some certain criteria as evidence, because that's all nice. A lot of it is that they want to see evidence that you're doing what you're saying you're supposed to be doing. Well, we have a procedure that says we're doing this, and so our higher up said we'll use this project as the example. So they gave us a project that the project manager for the whole thing that had been there for like 40 years retired a month ago. So a new guy just got brought in. So he doesn't know anything about where everything is. And then we brought in another person he recommended who didn't know where anything was. We got in another person who didn't know where everything was. And it starts getting to, an auditor can't write you a finding for if the information exists and you can show it exists, but you can't find it. But they can write you a finding on your records retention process, which is a mess to fix if they do. So we're panicking because if this comes down to it and they write us a finding on the whole record retention process, it ended up that everybody that came in is like, oh, I can't speak to that. You're going to have to talk this. And when the auditor's like, that's the third time I've heard that today, and I'm getting really sick of it. We're like, so it was a hell of a day. Today they went to a different area and it was better, and then they ended up finding the evidence at like 3:00, and so he's like, actually I have everything I need now. I'm like, oh. So it was just,
yeah.
And this is the first time I've played front room with auditor, where I'm running the room, so it's don't want to do it again. It's just stress.
Well, hopefully people will be a bit better organized next time.
No, they won't be.
Too optimistic?
It's a mentality thing. That's a problem in the company as a whole, and it's not gonna solve itself.
Well, you're saying yourself that the guy was new.
That guy was new, but there's other problems. I can't talk about a lot of it, but
Yeah.
it was just hell. So
My boss decided he's going to start coming back to work on a regular basis. I wasn't happy to hear that. That means I'm not going to get to play video games at work.
what I think is funny is that this stream is recorded and put online with your face.
Uh-huh.
I'm always careful about what I say because I never know what's going to come back. You're going to be running for...
I just said I can't play video games at work.
But it means that you have been.
I played one day, I think. Is all I really got.
And now you're angry because you're not going to have the opportunity to again.
I know, right? It sucks. I'm going to have to read my pony fanfiction instead.
No, I am always... When it comes to the internet, and especially since I know people that like to screen cap conversations and stuff, I am always obsessive about anything that's put in a readable format, especially with the audits that I've been a part of. That if it can be documented somewhere, I'm careful as hell about what I say. So it's because anybody can pull that out. I don't care if it's verbal. I'll say whatever the hell I want, but here I'm going to be careful.
Yeah, not me. I don't think I've done anything to incriminate.
No, ITAR couldn't stand to be a loser. It's the whole reason ITAR exists is because they don't want to share information about how to make like ICBMs and stuff. So anything regarding information that is pertinent to that kind of stuff, they don't want to share. So it's just it makes 100% sense. But when we're working in a medium that we have to share things over the internet, it ends up being that we have to get verbal on a lot of things. Thankfully, the auditors are super nice and are usually like, we understand that that's a restriction, and we'll just take a verbal on something, which is normally not what auditors do, but it's the only thing you can do.
Man, my boss was talking to me like he told me straight up he's been playing like during the work day. He's been playing some kind of truck simulator. Like he just started talking to me in the office. He's like, "Yeah, I've been at home and things have been kind of slow. I've been playing this truck simulator game." I'm like, no kidding. So it's like my work atmosphere is pretty relaxed. As long as everything gets done, nobody's super concerned. Like if I had a lot of work to do and he found out I was playing video games, yeah, he would rightfully chew my ass out. But things have been slow.
Do I want to match this? I think so. What font is that?
I feel like it's just that font but bold. Maybe a little different font.
Easiest way to do it?
I change the color of the text so you can actually read it.
I gotta finish writing.
I don't know what you're writing because I can't read it.
If you're unsure, copy it. It is not.
No. What if you bold it?
No, because you can see this T is cut at the top.
Oh.
It is of the same type. I don't know what Arial is. That sans font? I can never remember.
Ooh, what was that last one? No.
The main thing I'm looking for is that cut T.
Oh, that
No,
T's cut.
this is probably going to be a bold type, but I don't know if it maintains the bold. It does. Perfect. Don't know if it'll maintain it. Nope, it won't maintain it after I move.
Oh, that's it. That's pretty damn close.
If that isn't it, it's close enough to
It's
it.
that, but make that bold.
It is bold.
Oh, it is bold.
No, that's Arial. We just looked at... No, I didn't look at Arial. But if it's Arial...
It does look like Arial.
I was hoping there'd be a modification of Arial. Oh, there it... No, there's bold. Damn. Black?
Yes, it's black.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other things to worry about. We need to mash it to the same size. Which should be that. That actually... Arial, really?
That's all it is, Arial.
I don't think it quite is. I think it's a slight version of it, but it's close enough that I'm not going to worry.
I feel like it's just Arial in a different program. That's all it is.
Okay.
Use the equestrian font. That's the best font.
How about new? The problem is ooh.
Crooked?
Okay, no, that worked there. No, the sizing. So I was hoping it'd be a higher vertical text. I probably can just because, whatever.
There you go. You did it.
Hmm?
You did it. You just stretched it.
Well, why don't I maintain it like looking a little bit like the other one?
The other one has the advantage of having kind of a haze around the edges, and giving it like the runniness. I don't know.
Yeah, but I can do that.
You're gonna do that, all right?
Yeah, you
I
do.
know you can do it. It's a matter of do you want?
Rasterize. This is blur, motion blur.
I've never played an Animal Crossing game in my life. I'm probably not gonna start now.
Yeah, I've never played one either.
I think that requires me to own a Nintendo console, and I haven't owned one of those since the N64. Was Animal Crossing on the N64? Was that the first one? Oh, you're doing a good job on that.
I don't know. I've never played Animal Crossing, so.
Oh yeah, me neither. So
there's that, and then duplicate layer, rasterize. Let's see if I can do this. I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna see if I can.
I feel like we just jumped into a spook game. Hey, look at that. You got a new subscriber.
Well, hello, Zippity. Thank you. Actually, I've actually bought a lot of games lately because I haven't been knowing what to. I haven't been there. I've been unsure what I wanted to play lately, and so I've been kind of picking up random ones. And then I ended up playing like none of them, and I've ended up playing other ones instead. I've been
You convinced me to pick Final Fantasy VIII back up for like 5 minutes.
until Minecraft opened up.
Yeah, until Minecraft was
Now I've been kind of playing Minecraft a bit more. I was playing Baba Is You a little bit. I've been wanting to get into Plague Innocence. I picked that up a while ago, but I actually want to try playing it coming up here.
I need to like quit my job for a while so I can just focus on playing video games.
Color overlay apparently doesn't work for that. Does this work? No.
Oh, they remade Modern Warfare 2. I played that one, I think.
We need a little yellower.
I think I played 1, 2, and 3, but 3 was awful, and I stopped playing them after that.
Go with that. Not lens flare. Oh my god.
I haven't played any military shooters recently that I actually enjoyed. Interesting filter.
I don't know if this is going to be quite what I'm looking for, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Makes it look more weathered.
I'm working on it.
Mm-hmm. No, I thought that was the what you were going for.
No. I'll go with that.
Is that the name of the island? This New World? Wouldn't it be like Ancient Forest Landfill? Wouldn't that be better than New World Landfill?
No, because Ancient Forest, that means they're naming it after that area instead of just taking it and naming it whatever the hell they want. I like New World Landfill because it implies it's coming from the New World, not from the Ancient Forest. If you call it Ancient Forest Landfill, you could say that it was the monsters making it, but this is implying that's the city doing it. I'm making it easier for people because people are
I think the monsters made all the trash.
I wouldn't either, but you never know. So we're gonna do a Gaussian blur on the text here.
I like to believe it's all from that one character who does nothing but
Okay, we're gonna do blur and then
Fiber Bro Landfill.
we're gonna say slick pixel. Oh, no, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna see if I can do this. So we're gonna say select it all. Then make a. Thought there was a way to.
B-stars? I don't know what that is. I think that's no.
Oh, that was here. That was what it was. I thought it was. You could. Oh, maybe I gotta show it.
The most recent thing I watched on Netflix was Naked Gun 2. And that was a while ago. And it was my first time ever seeing the movie, so. You see how far behind I am on my television.
I think I did that backward. Oh, no. Actually, that'll work. So I gotta go to here. There we go. Invert. wait, that's what the problem is. Deselect. Then select this. Invert. Okay. Do I have to still select her from here? Apparently I do. Nah. Wait. How did you get... Oh, that's correct. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to bother with that. That's going further detail than I probably need to.
Looks like the paint's running up somehow.
Yeah, it's because the mascot. Well, that's kind of weird looking.
Oh. He's using that whole tree as this right first.
I don't want this as visible, so we're going to put this as like...
Sorry, you're not
like that. But that does make it so it's a little too dark still in the middle.
Why isn't everybody watching your stream and not watching cat videos right now?
Oh yeah, that's why this is getting dark, because I have that.
Just eat that plant.
That one. Okay. And this, you're gonna opacity a little lower, so it blends in a little bit. And we will
half looking over at your viewers to see if a bunch of people just left like, yeah, why aren't we watching cat videos right now?
So I'm just going to do a little bit of that. Okay, if I make this yellow, Let's see it. Should have worked. I have to, I think, add one of these to it. Now, will it work?
I have not had any clue what you're trying to do since you put the text up there.
Because if I do this... Oh no, that does work. I'll just do that.
I'm trying to make it glow.
No, I'm just adding like a little bit of I don't know what you want to call it, like a
haze.
Yeah, because these have a little bit of a yellow outline, just a teeny bit. But I don't want it covering the whole thing. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll do...
I mean, the whole side's rusty.
And we'll go to this, and then we'll just... I was going to try to make it so I could do it with noise, but I'll just noise it myself. Okay. And then one more duplicate. Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if there's really been any video games to come out lately that I feel like I really need to play. Other than Alex, but I'm kind of working my way through that slowly. Because it'll be another 16 years before I get another Half-Life.
Let's see if I can get a good version that just kind of covers up.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's not gonna. Oh, actually, you know what? I think it's because I selected the wrong piece of this. Because some of this is those little breakups where the text kind of gets burnt off. I can probably. Oh, I can just do it like this. That. I can't do it too much because it's gonna.
Be able to read it.
Yeah, that's the issue. But the black, or the reason it's fading at the bottom, I'm going to imply, is because it's starting to bleed.
That is what I.
And any of these end pieces, I'm going to assume, are kind of lightened, but the middles are fine. No, not too bad. Let's see if having any of these kind of actually works like that, but it's too strong. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the normal. I think at this point it's not gonna matter too much. I think we'll just go with that. I was thinking about having the text behind it to cross out, but I think it'd be really hard to do that. Well, Rust would be like adding that to the sign as a total, and that'd be hard to do. Oh, Moncrief, yes, it has been a while. How are you doing? Shine Uber lights on it. Well, the Rathalos stuff I try to keep at a minimal for the lighting, unless it's an important aspect of it, like. Oh, yeah, I guess this would be that. Oh, that is not what I want to do. Like when I did the one with, when they were down the tunnels, or not tunnels, in the cave with the Valhazic, that to me was one that I needed to have some kind of, some kind of a mood lighting, because it was following an iconic shot. But for this, I don't care, so I try to keep it cartoony. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Okay. Yeah, some of these edges are a little stronger. Like you can see just that they have much brighter bits. And I could definitely do that. A lot of this text isn't all the text doing it, but I don't care enough. A lot of these is about getting halfway there. If I get halfway there, I'm fine. I've read it before that you end up putting 10% of your time into 90% of the work, and then 90% of your work into 10% of the final. It's you spend to make a video is not that difficult. To make it good with all the little minor details and the tweaks and everything to make it to me great, that's what takes the most amount of time. So here I'm just kind of going 50% on everything.
Mission.
Oh, nice. Oh, sweet. Well, congratulations. Free for a commission? Probably never. I barely have the time, or not. I barely take the time for my own stuff, let alone other people's. The only way I would take on a commission is if it's something that sounds immensely fun and that I would just want to do anyway, which has only happened a handful of times. Like, for instance, helping Prince with the other video that we're working on. That was one where he made something based on something I made, and it was super cool with his Remembrance music video. So I feel like I need to help him with something. So, but yeah. Otherwise, no, I tend not to. I did one recently for what was his name? Christian narrator for a video about heroes, but that was because I was looking for a Fallout video to make. It was perfect timing, so it was just something nice to make. So whatever I put here, I need to make sure it's not visible here. And that's the problem, is there's this damn tree in the way. You can do that. You can't actually see the poles, can you? No, you can't. Perfect. And this is good because you can't actually see it. I can tell you right now, it's probably going to be a no, even if it's something that's fun. This has become my in-between time thing, or my free time thing, and what was normally my regular time thing is now somebody else's project. So I'm not even working on anything of my own right now. So no, probably not going to happen. Sorry.
Mission accomplished.
I should churn this. I don't want to churn. I want to churn it because it's like, if I have it straight on, like this, it's well, that's straight on. It's not straight on. It's churned. Whatever. So, but yeah, I think something like that would work. I'm not gonna name drop. You would actually be maybe surprised as to how many people actually ask me that question, and I'm not gonna recommend anybody because then it's gonna come at my recommendation, and I'm not gonna be that guy. So no, if you just search SFM ponies online, you can find a lot of people. There's tons of people out there that are really good. I feel like it might be a bit bright. Actually, I can drop... No. Can I drop this a little bit? You know what? I might be able to drop this a little. Probably get to like there. How does that look? I still wish I could feel it felt a little more three-dimensional, but because I don't like turning it that way, because if I do it that way, then I have to like put it here and then it's visible. Turn it a little bit more that way, and then I might just call that good. It's going to be out of focus. You know what? I can probably put this back in focus a little bit. What do you do on other days besides Tuesday and Friday all the time? I don't exist. If I'm not streaming, I ceased to be. I get sucked back into the void until Tuesday or Friday, where I come back again into the open. Well, right now, because of social distancing, I'm just here. I'm home all the time. My day job is I'm a quality analyst for a defense contractor, and so during Monday through Friday, I'm a quality analyst, but most of my work is actually IT focused. I'm kind of like the IT bitch for the department, building SharePoint sites and applications for them. So nothing to do with anything I do right here. Otherwise, I've been doing lately a lot of house stuff. I moved in here about 6 months ago, and I doubled the square footage that I had available, and I just felt like I wanted to pick up some stuff for nicer things, and so I've actually been putting a lot of time into it. Like recently, my project was, so I have the VR thing up there, but I recently picked up some cable hiding things, found the paint color code, fully spray paint it and hit it, and like the one over there you can barely even tell it's there until it hits the top of the ceiling, and I didn't know how to do any of that stuff, and so it was fun just being able to learn how to do that stuff. Do I enjoy my job? More than I probably expected I ever would. I used to work in trucking like up until probably about 3.5 years ago, and I was basically making like not much more than minimum wage, like but it's because I have bad imposter syndrome, and I just never felt like I could do much. But a lot of the YouTube thing and everything has gotten me a lot more confident in my ability to do things, and so I ended up getting a job at a medical device company where my sister worked doing documentary work, and which is just like cleaning up documents and putting for approval. They just wanted somebody that would go with computers because everybody they've hired with experience before did that poorly. Well, I excelled heavily there, and within a year I was moved from there to a quality compliance specialist to a department that I had no idea what I was doing. Ended up supporting many audits throughout the year, made a lot of good friends in the company. Then the company went to shit, and when somebody left and then they had a position at their current the company I'm at now, I went over there. So I've been moving up very, very fast. I've doubled my income over doubled my income in 2 years. So it's really good. So I'm doing well in that. But I love building things. I love website development. That's what I went to school for. I mean, this right here is my degree for Bachelor of Science in Computer Information Sciences. So it's nice being able to do that. And I love it. I actually really, really like it. I get to be creative in my GA job. I like creating in this aspect. It's great. But I wouldn't be able to do it as a job. Doing this, it's hard to be creative when they're telling you how to be creative. What I love about my job is that they tell me what they need, but otherwise I have free creative rights, so I can be creative, and I really like that. I live in a house. I had an apartment as of before 6 months ago, but 6 months ago I bought a house. It's a townhome, but it's like about 1,600 square foot. Very small backyard. You can't. Well, actually, I don't know if the lights can see it now. But there's just a tree line right back there, and there's almost no front yard. But it's fine because I don't really care about that stuff. But I like it in here. It's a lot of wood, and it's homey. So my plan is to buy another place in like 5 to 6 years and rent this place out. So again, other than that, I play a lot of video games. I've been playing Minecraft a bit lately. Borderlands 3 I've been playing a crap load of kind of. I slowed down a little bit, but played that a lot too. But when I'm not here, I'm really not doing SFM anymore. I used to do it like full time. If you just look at on my profile here, I have been at over 8,000 hours for like 4 years. I've slowed down a lot, but it's because other things in life took priority. I got that job, the job train that I'm going down right now of advancement. I don't want to. I kind of would like focusing on that. So, a lot of this animation stuff is not a permanent thing. It's something I'm going to be able to look at and do anything for 20 years, and I wouldn't want to. So, I'm just finding a comfortable. I'm letting it drop to a comfortable, like steady pace, and then I'm just going to let it ride. So, well, I haven't played I started Minecraft back when it just came out, and then played it for a while, and then like random times here and there, but I haven't played it for years, so everything that's in there is just so different. How's that Rathalos account going? It's going well. Other than I really haven't done much for it. Since my motivation levels went since the inception of the COVID thing. So I haven't really felt much like doing, and I haven't felt productive. It's normally I'm at work and then I come home and I feel productive because I'm finally home and I can do things. But now I'm home all the time, and it kind of kills my motivation. So I've been motivated to get up and do things physically. So I've been doing a lot of stuff around the house, but it's at the same time I'm not as motivated to sit down and work on things. So just the stagnant nature of everything right now just it's kind of killing my ability to be comedic as much. So it's just harder for me to respond to people in a way that I would feel and like. So nonetheless, it's still there. That's what this is. I'm looking to get something out. I have a contest I want to get. I have 3 little plushies that I've already purchased and I have boxes for. But then the COVID thing hit and I was worried that people would be concerned about me shipping things to them and stuff. So I just was like, I'm going to hold off until things settle down a little bit. What else is it here? I've had the same issue. For instance, in terms of file corruption, I've had multiple different projects that I've lost progress on for different reasons, but I want to see if I can find this. When I was exporting Remembrance, it was at that time I had a hard drive failure, or a slow hard drive failure. And it was causing me a lot of frustration. So if I go to my, I don't know if it's ever Awaken. That's the old, yeah, because these are the old name for it. If I go to some of the final renders for this, oh, the final's probably not it. It's probably the, okay. So there's like intro fix. I wonder if I deleted a lot of those folders. I was having a hard drive failure, and it was causing random frames to be broken, to where the frame itself is corrupt because it just hit a bad part of the hard drive. And if I re-rendered it again, it would just replace that same file on the same part of the hard drive and it would be corrupt again. And so I'd have these renders where I would spend multiple hours rendering, and then one frame would be bad. Well, then I had to go and re-render that whole portion, but I couldn't just render it again. I'd have to take that file, move it to a separate folder, and then re-render it, because then it would at least keep it in a different part of the drive. Oh my God. I got so frustrated with this video because I kept having to re-render stuff, but at that time I couldn't just buy a new hard drive because I was using a RAID 0 at the time. So it was on the RAID, but I couldn't confirm at that time which one was bad without a lot of work, and it was 2 weeks before BronyCon where I was going to premiere it. I didn't have the time to figure all that out and get new hard drives. So oh my God, that almost screwed me over, that whole project. And it still took me multiple times to fix. So technology is amazing when it works. But it was killing my motivation.
Cyclers.
That and within not long after I got back from BronyCon that year, I think it was within about 2 weeks, I was redoing some parts on Remembrance, and I was going to re-render it all because I exported it in 1080, and then for YouTube I was going to export it in 4K, which is a lot longer render time. And about 2 weeks afterwards, I had a severe work injury, and I could not leave the couch for a month. So I couldn't put the video out. I talk about killed motivation. When you have something you really want to put out that people will like, and then you can't. Yeah.
Mission accomplished. Anklers. Mission accomplished.
I kind of still want to have like trash push out of the way here. I think what I need to do is these black bags. How was your nap?
It's good. I lay down.
I almost took a nap today. Instead, I chose to go for a walk because I sat in a fucking chair for 9 hours. And I'm like, I needed to move.
I forgot to go to sleep until like 1:30 last night. So
I've been trying. I went to bed where I still got like 6.5 hours of sleep, but getting up at
you
5.
went to bed super early last night.
Well, I gotta get up at 5:30. I don't have to. The audit starts at 8, but I want to be there over an hour early because we've had plenty of audits where you get there like a half hour beforehand and they're like, everything's went to shit and they're here in 25 minutes. So I'm always wanting to get there a good bit early. Or my boss would be like, well, our hotel's 10 minutes from the building, so we'll leave at 12 too.
You're way better than me. If I was told I had to be online for work at 8 o'clock, I'd be setting my alarm for like 7:30.
Well, no, because I have to log in, but I have to wait for another person to log in, so I have to make sure that they get logged in. Then we're the log in. We have to migrate host, update permissions, and then we have to have them log in and log out. There's a rain dance to give me share permissions.
Like, do you even need? Are you guys using video cameras or?
No, per company procedure, we are not allowed to have webcams.
See, I wouldn't even have pants on.
Yeah, one of the ladies there, she's like, "Yeah, I'm wearing pajama pants and laying on the couch."
You're not supposed
I'm
to
like,
say
"I
that."
can't." No, it was just me and her talking.
What do you mean
but no,
you can't?
No, I can't because it's a mentality thing. If I do, well, for one, I don't like just lounging around without pants. But it's
You are an odd breed.
It's about the mindset. I don't feel if I'm doing that, I don't feel like I'm going to be productive. I've almost thought about just still dressing up for work, so I'm in the mindset of work.
I'd be way more productive at work if I didn't have to wear pants.
Tell your boss that.
Just
I
like,
have
no.
an amazing way to increase productivity.
No pants.
No pants policy.
No, yes. The freedom.
Go tell Cassandra.
No. She scares me, so no.
Oh, in terms of the work injury, no, I'm fine. They said I might have issues like 10 or 15 years after that. It was a leg injury. I messed up my my leg really bad. Where to explain what happened, I worked on a dock. Well, I didn't work on a dock. I worked inside, but I worked at S&D, which is overshore and damage at a trucking company where I had to do a lot of dock work. But I never had a forklift license or anything. It was just about I just had to go out there to do a lot of inspections and stuff. Well, I had noticed the one day that there was because I was really thorough, I saw underneath a pallet there was purple goo coming out from a trailer, and I'm like, okay, some asshole didn't pay attention because there was forks on a shorter pallet and pierced the drum, and that's ended up what happening. So we had to get this out. Well, the one in front of it was imbalanced, so I was helping walk it. So I was inside the trailer with about this much room, the pallet right here, and I was walking it along the side as they were pulling it out. And most of the guys that were there were really good with the forklift, so I trusted them, not to squish me into the wall, because they have been doing it for 20, 30 years. That was like to them walking. But when a trailer goes up to the back of a door, they have two big bumpers on the side so that a truck can keep backing up until it hits the bumpers and it knows, hey, I can stop now. And then they also know that they're close enough, and then they have a big dock plate that they lift up to that'll let them have a bridge to connect the two. Well, this trailer between the bumper and the dock gate had a small gap that was about this big. Well, when I'm following it along, my leg went through that hole. And to the floor, from the back of the trailer to the ground, is much larger than I am tall, or is taller. Well, it's about up to here on me. So there was no way my leg was going to hit the ground. And so my leg went through the hole, and the only thing that stopped me was my knee. And so all of my body weight on an area where I couldn't catch myself because I was a flat pallet and I was standing there, all of my body weight slammed into it. And so I just pulled my leg out, and I was like, that hurt like fucking hell. But I just kind of shook it off and called it good, and kind of limped a little bit. But I was like, okay, so I finished doing my one walk and then came back. What ended up happening was the not the knee itself on your thigh, but the knee below hand. So your thigh kind of has the bone raise up at a small curve before connecting to your knee. What happened was that part of the bone stopped me, thankfully, because I learned that if it was much more to the side, I could have sheared my kneecap off. Thankfully, I was also wearing jeans, which I'm not supposed to because I'm an office worker, but thankfully I was. So when I went inside, I had a giant scrape down the side that had cut through the jeans and whatever. So I just put some antibiotics in there and it was whatever. Well, the problem was the scrape wasn't the issue. It was the impact. Because I hit a sharp metal surface on the side with all my body weight. So within about 2 hours, my pant leg now was tight. It had swollen so bad, and I was getting, it was starting to hurt more and more over time. And by the end of that weekend, I could not bend my leg anymore. It was completely locked, and the swelling had, because of how severe the bruising was so bad that it couldn't contain itself in my leg, and so my entire leg from the knee down became one giant bruise. So I had to keep my leg up to prevent blood clots. I did end up going to the ER because I kept it down too long and it pooled and it left me with a giant foot. So I was worried about a blood clot. But as workman's comp covered it, thankfully without question. Nothing broke. They actually said that I was lucky. Nothing broke. I hit the best part of the bone I could, so that no chips, no nothing. But I do still have aches every now and then. But yeah, I called him a turkey leg because it looked like a fried piece of meat. But it ended up. It could have. I didn't mind because something like that. Somebody else that was there had happened to them before, and they had to retire early because of, and it would just, and for other people it could have been a lifelong disability. So I am walking fine and I can go run and I'm fine. So I'm not. I'm not going to complain about it at all. But for a month I had to basically keep my leg up. I never missed a day of work. I still drove in, but as soon as I got in, I had to put my leg up, and I had to limp a lot. But yeah, I wasn't able to bend my knee for that long. And I still remember the one night that I kind of got used to it, and I went to go to bed, and I went to go fall into bed like I normally would otherwise, and which would involve me falling onto my knee. Well, then all my body weight moved it like an inch, and it was the most painful thing I have ever experienced. I literally screamed. And I still remember that exact moment, the amount of pain that felt, and I never want to go through that again. So, but other than that, it was actually zero pain. When I went to the ER, the lady at she looked at my leg and she's like, "What'd you do?" I'm like, I explained it. And she goes, on a pain level of 0 to 10, how bad does it hurt? And I told her a 2. Like, as long as I'm not bending it, it doesn't hurt. It literally doesn't hurt at all. And she goes, "Now don't be a man about this." And I'm like, no. She goes, because that looks like it hurts like, you know. I have a picture of it, but I'm not putting it up here because
I want to see it.
I'd have to dig it out.
I hit my head yesterday doing laundry, and it left a
I was talking about like how I almost lost my leg, and you're like, I bumped my noggin, and I got a boo-boo.
I did. I took off work for a month. I'm not going to work anymore.
Really?
It hurt my head.
That's
It left a scab. That's how hard I hit my head. Because there's that shelf there, and I bumped it.
You know what I probably
I'm gonna
put it in?
die.
I swear I've shown you this picture before.
You have not. Holy shit! When you're describing that, you did no justice. Holy hell!
No, actually,
impressive.
it wasn't.
That is impressive.
What happened? It was really weird, and this is why the doctor called it a severe contusion. Contusion is just a word for a severe bruise, or just bruising, but it was considered severe enough. And they had to do tests for blood clots because that could happen. But the bruise started in the center and then like radiated out. So it started as like red, and then the red spread out. But then the center became yellow. It's like a sickly yellow, and then that yellow spread out. It was really weird. No, I'm not twittering it. I get
It's
banned.
nasty looking.
This is It's
Get banned. don't know about that, but it was pretty nasty.
But no, it literally didn't bother me that much. I never missed work. I just never. They didn't allow me to go on the dock because I was stuck inside. I couldn't walk, and putting weight on it hurt. I mean, as long as I just kept it up, and it was about putting it above my center of mass. As long as I kept it up, it actually didn't bother me at all. I learned that you can play Civilizations on the Steam controller with one hand. That was really nice. So I had it playing to the TV. I did actually stream. There are a couple streams that if you go way back to like September or probably mid or late September of 2015 on those streams, I was streaming from the floor, where I had it raised up on the floor and I had a keyboard and a tablet for the stream text, and I was working on stuff.
The only way that couldn't have hurt that bad is if basically your leg had just become numb at some point.
The only time it really bugged me was if I kept my leg down too much, the blood would start to pool. So my foot would grow. Like I could feel it increase in size. But I had to keep it up just to keep the bruising from pooling. But that's why you could see the sock line, because it would stop at my sock. That's where blood clots form. So I had to make sure.
Stop wearing socks.
So yeah, that's why when I was at work, I had to take my shoe off and I had to like pull my sock up so it spread the compression out. So yeah, but they gave me a lot of lenience at work, so that was really good.
Just take some time off and live off the workers' comp. Holy crap, man!
Because if I take time off work, then workman's compensation has to pay me. If I take a day off of work, then that counts towards the company. A lot of companies, they'll pay tens of thousands of dollars for any medical bills, but as soon as they have to pay you to sit at home, it's a huge ding on them. So they will try not to. Well, the way I was seeing it is at work, I sit my damn ass all the time anyway. So I told...
they just don't want you to sue them. That's what they don't want.
But it's... They by corporate, they're required to maintain a metric of how many days without an accident. That accident number is how many days have you went without having to pay somebody to stay home. So even though that happened, it didn't count against that number.
That's a stupid number to keep.
Yeah, it was. We had one of the other companies I had. Somebody was doing. They have the big like cross tire iron. What is that thing called?
Yeah.
Is it just a tire iron?
Tire.
Okay. They had one of those they were using to put a trailer down, and there's a lot of pressure to it, and it accidentally slipped and hit him in the head, and it knocked him the out, and he had like 7 stitches across his head, and he still came in the next day. So it's because he didn't want to go against the number.
He didn't want to go. That seems like the only reason they keep that number is to prevent people from staying home.
They had a safety award, and for every 3 months that you would go without an accident, they would have random groups that was associated to everybody, various groups within the company, and if a group went 3 months without an accident, they would get a thing. And these were actually really nice things. Like I got a fleece jacket and some other fancy stuff. I know.
That's pressuring people.
I know it is.
Not to say when you've been hurt at work.
But you got some really cool stuff. But the best part about it is because if somebody got an accident, your first thought is, we got to tell them not to call in.
Yeah, you basically if it makes everybody in the office pressure that person to come into work and not take off because they've been seriously hurt. That's horrible.
I know it was horrible, but it was actually really nice stuff.
Saying that doesn't make it better. It makes it worse.
No, like the leather bound book that I use for all my papers for work still. It has Estes symbol in the corner. That was where I worked. That was one of the things. It was a full leather bound book. Really, really nice. I like it. And it was great because he didn't call in. It was the 4th month reward that everybody wanted.
I could just see now some poor dude, breaks every finger in his hand in a work-related accident, and everybody's like, you can't let anybody know. Well, you have to come to work.
The idea behind it...
I want that notebook.
The idea behind it isn't that... it isn't to prevent people... What they're going to tell you is that the intent isn't for that. It's to help promote a safe atmosphere by incentivizing people to be safe. But what ends up being...
Yeah. Isn't the incentive to be safe because people just generally don't want broken bones?
Well, it depends.
It depends.
What about the people jumping in front of cars because they can sue?
I don't think there's that many people doing that.
Russia, that's the whole reason that it's mandatory to have dashboard cams It's because they have so many people committing insurance fraud.
Yeah, I don't know. I've worked at lots of places that didn't go to that lengths to prevent people from calling into work or safety.
No, I thought it was really stupid, and I know what they were doing with it. But it was nice stuff. And for the most part, you just are like, well, it's fine because nobody ever gets injured. But then when that one person
I'm just waiting for that one person, somebody get injured. He's like, I broke my foot. And management be like, see it and be like, attention workers, if we have a perfect safety week this week, everybody gets a free PlayStation. Ooh. And then just look at the guy.
What are you talking about? This was trucking. You could have just said everybody gets a free dilly bar. And everybody would have been like,
look at him like, fuck that guy. Put him in the closet. He doesn't exist. Keep him on the work payroll though. He's just screaming in the closet. No! We can't let you out, you'll tell. I want my dilly bar.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's
Dude,
hard.
butterscotch dilly bars.
They're
good.
Never had butterscotch dilly bar.
Have you ever had a regular dilly bar?
Never had dilly bar.
But then you can't add the adjective to dilly bar if you've never had a regular dilly bar.
You brought up the butterscotch, not me.
So good. Who here has had a dilly bar?
I haven't eaten ice cream.
It's so nice because it's ice cream and sugar
in nearly
on a
a
stick.
year. I offered to buy ice cream once. She said
It's a dilly bar. It's Dairy Queen. It looks like a giant Hershey Kiss that's flattened out on a stick, but inside the chocolate coating is ice cream. And
chocolate.
But then the butterscotch ones are even better because because butterscotch is amazing.
I don't think I've had butterscotch ice cream in a while.
Well, it's a butterscotch coating, like a chocolate would be, so it's just a crunch butterscotch outer layer, and then inside just vanilla ice cream. But it's a dilly bar. Well, I mean, I can understand if you're not in America, because I don't know like Dairy Queen.
I think the last time I had ice cream was when we went to Cider Fest.
It's a dilly bar. That's a dilly bar.
It's just a chocolate covered ice cream bar.
Yes, but it's copyrighted.
Ah.
And look at this. It's the flavor of non-edible.
What is that?
See, this is the butterscotch one. Look at those. Oh, that's his
Fargo.
dreamsicle, but it looks about the same.
There's 3 flavors. What's the third flavor?
Well, I don't know. I've never seen dreamsicle ones myself. It might be
that's
like
orange.
So they're
Dreamsicle's
strawberry,
orange.
chocolate, and butterscotch.
Okay.
It does look like flat poo. Thankfully, it doesn't taste like flat poo. It tastes like delicious.
Mission accomplished.
I used to go to Dairy Queen all the time. Never eat the ice cream though. I liked their cheese curds. Dairy Queen has good cheese curds.
Cyclers.
I think I'm gonna have him dip his head down at the end of recyclers, and have his head just come back up.
Cyclers.
Well, that's what you get. You get the dilly bars if you manage to hide the fact that you smashed your leg.
No. Really, the main reason I went in is because I wanted to maintain my job, and so I just was playing it safe. Plus,
I mean,
again,
that's equally
they basically
bad,
they basically said, "Well, you can't walk." Okay, what do I do at work? Well, you just sit. Then I could come into work. I mean, how am I supposed to tell them I can't do my job when my job is to do what I'd be doing at home? The only difficult part is getting there. But the difficult part was my right leg, and driving is with the right leg. So that was a little bit tough. But thankfully, I can move my foot. I just couldn't move my knee.
I don't think I'd be able to do my job very effectively if I couldn't
Recyclers.
I don't know that I could do any job effectively without being able to walk.
Anything that I needed on the dock, I just requested.
As long as you have somebody bringing stuff to you.
Recyclers. Recyclers. Mission recyclers. Mission
Hey, Blur.
accomplished.
Hello, Blurred. We're talking about turkey legs.
Cyclers.
Yeah. Now I want to go to a Renaissance festival.
That's what I always think it looks. That's where I originally came up with the metaphor.
Yeah.
It's because of
Big
well,
old-
the not just the Renaissance Fair, the State Fair has too.
The what? Oh, the State Fair. They had everything at that state fair. I've only been once, but it was interesting.
They have good food.
I didn't dislike anything I had.
Well,
I don't think I'd get the mound of cookies again.
no.
I know that's a tradition.
Well, they're good, but it's a tradition. That's really big. The ice cream though they have there. That one, the dairy house. That we went all the way back through there.
Oh yeah,
that was really good ice cream.
The one place that I gotta go to apparently because Draft brought it up is the root beer place.
The what? Oh, 1919?
Yeah, I didn't.
I know we never went there last time.
No.
Does anybody have had 1919 root beer before, or has everybody even heard of it?
I'm sure you can get it year round, right?
Oh yeah.
You just...
It's just expensive.
I don't drink a lot of soda. Is the thing.
It's 1919 root beer is the best root beer you're gonna get. The problem with it is the only way to get it is in a keg.
The thing is,
if you want it, Cub every now and then will sell them, but you have to buy a mini keg and they're like $20.
Yeah.
Or it used to be 1919. That was like 10 years ago, so it's probably like $25-$30 now. But it goes flat after a couple days, so you have to finish off a mini keg in a couple days.
That's a lot. That's a lot of beer.
But it is very good.
There was only one soda pop that I knew of that was kind of the soda pop of Kentucky, and it was a ginger ale, which I'm already not a fan of. It's called L8, and I've had it only a handful of times. It is the nastiest crap. I don't know how they stay in business.
And Sky, in terms of what you're saying, yeah, the thing is they can't fire you for getting injured, but they can find other reasons to get rid of you. And that company had already had a lot of other crap going on that I didn't want to be. I didn't want it to come to. I don't want to be a part of that. They were, like later on, they ended up their stock dropped enough because the higher ups always have this thing of where they say that we need to focus on customer feedback and customer response for stuff, so they work on getting all these numbers up. Well, then they get it up there, and they're like, well, now we're spending too much money on the people, or we're spending too much money to maintain that, so we're going to cut off a lot of the stuff. Well, then it drops back down again, so there's this wave of improving and then immediately following it up with doing shitty. And the company would always, whenever they had to hit that point of cutting, they would always cut employee hours. So every year, and they're still doing it now, they would cut out to where you could only work 7 hours a day instead of your 8. So you're working full time but only getting paid for 35. But you still had 8 hours of work to do a day. But you had, if you didn't do your normal job, then you were going to get fired. So it ends up being that you clock out after 7 and then you work another hour or something. That's where I started getting into freight inspections, because they were doing it on a per terminal basis. If you could get your numbers up, they would give you your hours back sooner, which is another bullshit policy. But I started doing inspections, and I was able to bring in a couple extra tens of thousands of dollars a month on inspections. Inspections are just where customer says this is the density and this is the weight, and then we check it, it's not. So it's about knowing what the density is, but calculating it based on the size and the weight, and then figuring out how that compares to the product itself, because you have to, depending on the product within a certain dimensions, you have to put it within a certain category. It's a really complicated process, but I got good at it. So I started doing this, and we ended up getting our hours back sooner than most. But I was doing all of it for free, and it was crap. So
you went from having a really crappy job to having a really decent job in a very short amount of time.
I went from having a crappy job to a good job to a great job that then wouldn't pay me for what I was doing, and then became shitty for about 3 months before I quit, and then became awesome. So yeah. So, but for the most part, it's been on the way up, and the only down slope was only enough to ramp me up to a better spot. So
I'm making decent money in my job, and my job's pretty chill, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I get paid way more than I should for what I do.
Recyclers.
I mean,
But I'm okay with it. I'd rather be paid too much than not enough.
in a perfect world, you'd be getting paid a shit ton of money for just making pony videos all day about Derpy.
If I really focused on it, I probably could make my normal wages doing this than I'm now. But the amount of crap to deal with taxes. I don't not one for wanting to deal with that, and it would probably be putting in more hours doing that than I would be what I'm doing now. And
you probably would be down here just constantly animating.
Yeah, and
I have to come down here to brush the cobwebs off you from time to time.
The fame that came with everything was fun for a while, but I wouldn't want to maintain that, and to do that, I'd have to keep it going up, and I don't like that. I prefer to kind of do my own thing. I've learned from the amount of comments on YouTube and stuff, I've got complimented out to where I just don't care about this stuff anymore. So even at work, like I don't really. When something good goes through, I try to push off the complimenting to other people because I just don't want it. I've had plenty of it. I'm numb to it now, and I just don't care. So I'd rather have other people have the spotlight on that stuff.
See if the opposite works. Your shit. How does that make you feel?
Your what?
I said your shit. At animating.
Well, no, that's the other direction.
Yeah, I'm seeing if it works.
I know.
Maybe you'll get re-energized.
You can't say, oh, you only compliments? Well, then I'm going to go and just insult everything. No.
Yeah. Maybe you'll just be like, I'll show you, and you'll be motivated again.
Yeah, I'm gonna become known for derpy hate videos.
No. It's awful.
Recyclers.
Just like this is my 5th episode of Murder the Derby series. It's like it'll show me.
Cyclers.
Nah, he knows I like his stuff.
Cyclers. Cyclers. Planet recycle. Even the planet recyclers. Recyclers. Cyclers.
I think.
I mean, I'm pretty indifferent to this dragon, but I do enjoy the animations.
Well, the thing with Pony is it just I am big on learning new things. I love learning new things, and I don't like stagnant. So if things are changing and evolving, I find it way more motivating. The problem with Pony is I was getting to a point where I kind of already knew everything. So it was a lot of just copy paste the stuff from before instead of growing and getting it better. And there's still ways to improve, but I'm improving in small increment bits instead of a larger bit. Well, the nice thing with the Rathless thing is it's different. And I can follow a whole different mentality with it, which is really nice.
You haven't once done a video with ponies and socks. What you talking about?
Yeah, I have.
It's been forever since you had ponies kissing.
Recyclers. Recyclers. Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers.
When are you going to animate Fallout Equestria in its entirety? Come on.
I've heard you say that question 100 times.
Recyclers.
And no, it's not going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Because I'd like myself at least enough to not do that.
I already said I'd come downstairs to clear the cobwebs off you.
I don't drink soda. I drink carbonated water now. I like Perrier. I got into that because earlier this year I kind of cut out sugar for not early this year, earlier last year. Holy crap! So now I drink carbonated water and liquor. It's about the liquor. I kind of had a whiskey Coke thing for a while. I need because I really whiskey Coke, so I had a lot of soda with that. But I don't consider that soda. It's not like I'm just drinking it for the soda portion. Also, hi, Two-Tailed.
And the show never ended. They released 2 new episodes last month. Out of nowhere.
There's a show?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Well, he was saying it ended, and I'm like, no, it really hasn't.
Well, kind of. Pony's not over, but...
well, no, they released 2 new Friendship is Magic episodes.
Well, no, it's so clumsy. It's the way I see it is say you do something really, really good and somebody compliments you on it, and that's great. And then the next day you do something similar and they compliment you again. And then on this third day, you do the same thing and 3 people compliment you. You're like, oh, that's great. And then on the next day, maybe 5, and then 10, and then 20. Well, then suddenly you have one day where you only get 5 people that compliment you. And But at that point, you're like, but I've been having 20 people compliment me. What is 5 anymore? And it's your mind starts creating or starts expanding what it thinks is normal to the point where, like, for YouTube, I used to be happy when I got 1,000 views. When I got my first 1,000, I was like, that's a lot, that's great. And then it was 10,000, then it was 100,000. And then when I started getting a video that didn't get 1 million, I was getting this feeling of like, was that a good video anymore? And I very quickly started realizing that mentality I was going down and reined it in to where, to me, one comment and one compliment is still important. But I also feel like I don't want to be saturated in it. So that's why at work I don't feel like I need more on top of it, because I'm just going to be pushing my boundary as to my compliments so I get more and more. So I prefer other people getting it just because I feel like I've saturated myself enough, where somebody else is still in that mentality where one compliment is a big thing for them. So let them have the fun of it, because I remember how that felt. So yeah, that's my idea on it.
Yeah. No point in ever saying, hey, you made a good food. Because you're just like,
Recyclers.
one compliment.
Well, no, that's but it sounds so petty. But the thing is that's really how what it comes down to. Is the more of something you get, the more you move your line of expectation. And so I just didn't like that. That's why, like, if you were to ask me how many subscribers I have on YouTube right now, I have absolutely no idea. I'd stopped looking at the number because it was becoming too important. And when it started slowing down because content was taking longer, I actually started taking it badly. But then I started getting out of that mentality, and now I just don't know. I think I'm getting somewhere around 200,000, but it's slowing down. It's slowed down to where I think I'm not even there yet. I don't know.
Well, you've been pumping out Rathalos content instead of Pony content lately, so...
I've been putting more time into Pony than Rathalos.
Yeah, but what if you released a Pony?
Because I get distracted with with helping other people with projects, or putting too much into the same project.
Most people don't see this work you do until you release it.
Recyclers.
Except for like the dozen people who watch your streams.
Planet recyclers.
And me.
Mission accomplished.
I know all the funny stuff you're doing, and it's great.
I'm still a little worried at this transition.
And they weren't short. They were 22-minute long episodes. They're clumsy. You should check them out. One of them was actually pretty good.
I'm wondering if I should move that eye out for this.
He does kind of look blind in that one eye.
Well, no, it's transitioning from here. But I think I will, because otherwise it feels a little weird. But I have to be careful, because when he comes back to here, I think I'm going to move it a teeny bit, but that's it. Okay, that's fine. No, that's actually, to me, that's what I love about streaming. Is on YouTube, you just get a lot of people that are just a number. And like I've brought up before, is that you just see numbers go up and up and up. What I loved about Twitch so far is that the numbers aren't what matter. Like right now, there's 10 people viewing. I don't know if it counts me when I'm in this mode, but that's awesome. For when I was streaming a while back, there was like 50, 60. It was really hard to maintain a conversation, but I like right now because there's only a couple people and it feels like I'm interacting with people instead of a number, and I love that. So that's why I've never worked on trying to push the Twitch or increase viewer count. I don't care about that stuff, because if I increase it, then I lose that, and I don't want to lose that. So I appreciate you guys coming, especially for like however many years I've been doing it. Yeah, it's not overwhelming, and I'm able to respond, and it doesn't. It feels more like an interaction instead of just a mass amount of people just watching. So,
I mean, just to be clear, the blurred wall is just a number. Everyone else, they're fine. Blur, you're a number.
But blurred is an important number.
He's like 3.
I don't know what that compares to, but we'll go with yes.
It's not the most important number, let's be fair. But it's 2 is far more important.
2?
Like 2 is more important than
Actually, do you know what the most important number is?
I don't know, 10? Because everything is easier.
0.
0? That's not a number.
It's surprising to say, but 0 was basically an invention because nobody really thought to need to represent nothing. But 0 to me is probably the most important number. Without it, we wouldn't have a base 10 system. Without it, you wouldn't be able to do any math that led to nothing. It's to me 0 is the most important number.
I'm just imagining a scenario in
or
which
42. Yes. 42.
In which somebody's like, "How many do we have left?" But the number 0 hasn't been invented yet, and he's like, "There's nothing left." Well, how many is that? I don't know, and their heads just exploded.
Or they would just show nothing. But to me, and that's why, like, when in Europe they're called not, because it's not. Or I mean, as far as I know, that's why it's nothing. I mean, maybe you guys would say it or say it differently, but it's, to me, being able to represent the lack of something is super important in mathematics. Binary, the only reason they use 0 and 1 is because
On, off.
the whole point of
Something on.
the whole point, well, no, it's not on and off. The whole point of 0 and 1 is to say everything or nothing, because if
Electricity or not.
because it's electricity, because of quantum stuff and because of degradation of equipment, if they were to say anything other than 0 and 1, they would have to set a specific point that was the middle point of electricity. Well, things start to lose amount of voltage, and eventually maybe a 1 would shift into the 0.5 territory. Well, then you would have mismatches in numbers. It's a lot easier to say, is there electricity or is there not electricity? That, even if there's degradation, is still going to be true. And so it's a lot easier to do that. That's why their quantum computing is super powerful, because quantum computing adds a 2. Quantum computing is about where you can have 3 separate positions for something and that are guaranteed. So it's
What's
about
the third position.
It's a spin, I believe it was based on. So is it spinning a left-handed spin, a right-handed spin, or both? Quantum realm is fucked up, but it's considered to be your 2 positions and then superposition. And those are states that they can control and measure. So technically, they can make a 3-state system. And that it's saying, because what you do with that is, like, even if you take a calculator, and so if you're doing the increasing of numbers, you 2 times 2, and then you do times 2, and you just keep going from there, that's all the powers of 2. But if you do 3 times, would that be, is it 3 to 3? Yeah.
If you have 3 states.
Because it would be 3 to 3, and then times 3. How fast it grows is exponentially faster, and it's just so you can do so much more with it. But it's still also very early, and all computing at the smallest level is built around a 2-digit system. So all of computing would have to be redone. I'm
thinking we'll see fusion power before we see quantum computing in a functional state in our lifetime. It's too unstable.
Well, with one of the things with quantum, one of the reasons that they're having issues right now is that you can't make computers much smaller, because they're down to the point where the quantum fluctuations of an atom within a space on a silicon chip has too high of a chance of literally popping into existence in another line of the silicon, because they're down to cutting it into 10 or 20 atoms wide. That is super, super tiny to where they can't control it. So if they can't make things any smaller, they're just going to start having to make physically bigger. Quantum computing is about actually dropping that size limitation down a lot too. Google recently put out a thing where they made a quantum computer, and it calculated just this. It was a dummy algorithm that was just made to be intensive, and so it had no actual purpose other than just to create mathematical problems. But a normal computer was going to take like decades or something to process it, and this thing did it in like seconds. So it's crazy how fast they are.
It's gonna make porn in the future amazing.
Well, but what infrastructure do you need?
That's what it all runs to.
What infrastructure do you need to make it work? That's the hard part.
I mean,
you can make a quantum computer, but what other things around it do you have to make to make it work? So there is going to be a minimum size to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if the improvements are significant enough and they're stable enough, the infrastructure will be built. Same as they were for all this stuff. I mean, the infrastructure for computers like we have today didn't exist even 30 years ago. Now they do.
Yeah, but I don't think... How long has it been since Moore's Law was broken? I don't think we're following Moore's Law anymore, which I think was computers double the speed every 16 months.
Yeah, we're kicking that and we're killing that
No,
now.
it was killing us. So we were not following it in with it. Or it was getting close to not being true, and then suddenly a revelation would come out, and people would find ways to speed things up. But
You
that's
can
why
always speed things up just by adding more computers. So
But then one of the issues with computers now is speed of light. You still have to have the internal components speak to each other. How long is the cable? That actually is a real thing.
Yeah.
That's why processors have, because there's 3 different types of memory in your computer. There's your hard drive, but that's very slow. Then, so to help speed that up, you have your RAM, which is a much faster random access memory for helping control that.
solid states were a pretty good jump.
Yeah, and some of those are actually faster than RAM. M.2s are basically plugged in like RAM.
They are RAM essentially.
But beyond even RAM, there is memory built into the processor that is gold plated because it needs to be ultra fast, because when it's doing mathematical calculations, it's using these small little memory bits to take the bits, like if you're doing decimal calculations, it has to move it into these other bits so that it can do something with its, and then it's processing. So if you have like a 32-bit system, it's only got 32 bits within, and then another, like it's so many amounts of memory built in, and you can actually see on the processor how big these are. It's been over 10 years since I was in school, and they went over a lot of stuff, so I know a lot of it's changed. But
10 years.
But they do that because it's a speed of light thing, because it's right there and it's immediate and it's built into the fastest material they can use. So
I mean, when I was going to college, the Pentium 4 was the big processor. That was the processor everybody had, and that thing wasn't even multi-core.
the one thing, and this has to do with the electronics thing, is I'm reading a book from Neil deGrasse Tyson regarding astrophysics in the military. And one of the things that I think was funny, there's some kind of an agenda with some of the stuff he's talked about in there, but the one thing that I thought was funny was them saying that we used to be a nation that was built on being the top edge and the top of the line science and everything. But now we're a market that focuses on small incremental changes to the smallest electronics we can make, which is just about, we want to commercialize cell phones and smartwatches, and we're becoming a market that is just about the consumption of small little smart devices. And that is kind of what we're doing. That's what we're known for now. Other nations are doing better at the science stuff than we are, which is fine. They're helping advance everybody. But where America used to be one of the big leading people with that, and just the Cold War was one of the main causes of it, and now we just don't have that motivation anymore. It doesn't make money.
Mission accomplished.
America's motivation should be towards making a beer that actually tastes good. Get
What?
on it, scientists.
Making a what?
Beer that actually tastes good.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people would disagree.
I'm sure they would. They're wrong, but I'm sure they would. See, Blur knows. He knows how impossible the feat is. I think it can be done, Blur. I think the trick is you start with the apples.
think I like that more.
Accomplished.
It's not. It's subtle,
Mission accomplished.
but it helps his head move a little bit more. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna do like a while ago. I copied this trash bag for this purpose of putting more under him. So he is clipping the bags there, but with the motion. Is there motion there? Or did I shut it off? No, it's a 32. Yeah, he might not be. No, he's moving fast enough.
Beer's nasty. Skylight.
I think that.
I'm sorry.
Okay, it's gonna bug me that I don't remember that number.
Pretty sure the only reason people drink it is it's cheap.
No, there's a. To me, if you drink cheap beer, yeah, but it's the same thing if you drink cheap cider.
Well, this is good.
Because it's just sugar.
Yep, it's good.
No, I think there are some beers that I don't mind that much. I'm not a fan of drinking beer, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just not my taste, which is surprising because I like coffee, but I like coffee with creamer, so I guess
you do add a lot of creamer.
But it's delicious.
If I have to drink any beer, I will drink Guinness. That's the only one I actually have found that I don't mind that much.
I like the smoothness of it, but I'm still not a huge fan of Guinness.
I'm not a huge fan of beer, period. But if I had a gun to my head, said you have to drink a beer, pick one, it'd be Guinness.
I wonder if
Has a bit of Bailey's in it. Makes it
I
actually
put the bag
more
like
palatable.
if I put the couple of the bags like here. I wonder if I can just have them kind of compress. So like a couple of them.
I mean, if you're gonna do that, just add Guinness or add Bailey's to the Guinness. Don't just add milk.
But again, it's I found kind of like I think I know why old people are stubborn. Is over time I've just tried lots and lots of things, and I've tried exploring lots and lots of things and trying different things, and I've kind of gotten to the point where I just have went through all that and have narrowed down what I'm like in life, and to where I don't need to try anything else because I've tried all those different things and I have found what I like. I have a specific creamer that I like getting. I have a specific coffee I like getting, but it's because I've tried a whole bunch of them and I just don't care anymore. Every time I've tried new things, I end up going back to this one because it's just something I like.
He's old.
I am.
That applies to some things with me, but not food. Food, I think I'll always want to try something new if it's available.
Food, well, it depends. So I like trying new versions of things that I already like. But I'm not going to go and like have like octopus or something like that.
Which is good though.
I know, but I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. Well, for one, I'm
ever
not a fan
tried
of
it?
seafood.
I can't cook any fish in this house. It's a crime.
I've never said you can't cook fish.
You said you won't eat it.
Yeah. It doesn't mean you can't make it.
I would make it, and then you would just complain about the fish smell, and then you wouldn't eat any. I bet I can make some. Look, I bet I can make some fish you'd actually like.
You know what I'm probably gonna do? Not eat it.
If I make it, will you at least try it?
I'm gonna be sitting there, and you're gonna be, you gotta eat your fish. I'm like,
I was already like that when we had all that broccoli in the fridge, and like I just want some vegetables. And
because I wasn't gonna blasphemize your specific meal.
You eat it to the side. Don't try to turn this on me, because you won't eat your vegetables.
You can have the broccoli with it, but we must place at least 3 layers of napkins between the chili and the broccoli. They cannot touch. And if the middle layer of napkin gets soggy in any way, you must throw out the whole thing.
You don't want the broccoli touching the 3-way.
Yes. Usually I hear that about a cucumber, but...
Nah.
Well, that's not gonna work.
I think I make good fish. You've never had it though. I used to make fish twice a week. Because I like fish.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
Not liking fish is such a broad term.
Anything.
There's like a lot of different animals in the sea.
Anything from the sea. Shrimp is the one thing that I usually don't mind too much.
What about crab? Lobster?
I don't ever really had much of it. It's just not my thing. If I have to choose between the two, I'm just going to choose something else.
Between every animal on land and every animal in the sea.
Well, yeah, if you want to start categorizing things that is in a way that befits your argument, then sure.
I'm just saying there's a lot of animals in the sea.
And there's a lot of animals on land. There's plenty of cows.
There's like
They're
5.
causing so much global warming that I am helping. I am battling global warming by having a burger.
I see.
A big, juicy burger.
I see. It's like 80% of the surface of the planet that you refuse to eat if food touches.
I just watched a thing where they said if all the cows in the United States were their own state, they would be the largest producer of greenhouse gases compared to cars.
Yeah, they put out the methane.
And they're working on ways to keep them from belching.
Yeah, they're trying to like change their diets.
They say if you add in just a little seaweed, it can help. But at the same time, it's if you suddenly start doing that, then you need a process for making seaweed. So
I think Americans just kind of need to change their eating habits.
Yeah, we all need to become vegan.
I don't know about that, but maybe eat more pork.
I love, like, if you were vegan, you'd be like, yeah, but if we're not, you're like, don't fuck with my diet. I will do everything to save this environment as long as it doesn't affect me.
Maybe if we eat more fish.
No. That won't solve the issue. That'll just make it worse.
I say this fully aware that I bought like 3 pounds of beef yesterday at the store. Ugh.
Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these trash bags and I'm just going to indent them all, and then I'm going to time it with how he impacts them.
I've had that. I've seen that too, Skylight. Meat's kind of disappearing off the shelves in a lot of stores. It's getting kind of hard to find. You can't be as picky as you once were.
Oh, so first draft.
I think a lot of the meat processing plants are shutting down because of the virus.
Okay, so this trash bag starts impacting right here. No, that actually happens faster than I thought it was going to. Okay. This one starts impacting right here. This one. It's actually a little later. Actually a little slower. Okay, I don't even know if you can see that one, but I did it, so I'm going to keep it.
Would it be too noisy for me to do dishes? I'm gonna go with the yes. Loud.
I think I ran the dishwasher. I filled it earlier, but I couldn't run it.
I'll just not run it. I think no one thinks I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna go start dishes.
I was gonna run it then during the lunch break, and then I'm like, wait a second. I'm sitting 3 feet from the dishwasher. Last thing I need to do is have that running in the background while trying to run an audit. Okay, this one got mistimed from my playing here. And I think it is also going down too far. Sorry, I'm going to catch up here. I was kind of catching up on animating here. You're adamant about food not touching each other. I'm the opposite. Like my grandpa on my dad's side was big on mixing everything together. So I have a thing of like on Thanksgiving, if I get a giant plate of food with 7 different things, I have to have one little thing of all 7 in every bite. I'm big on that, so I mix all my food together. So yeah, complete opposite. And I don't mind fish and chips, but really, if you deep fry everything, it tastes good. So who cares? Yes, big old burger, helping the environment. No, it doesn't work though. Actually, the issue is that the amount of beef that is consumed is causing the problem because it's supply and demand. People want beef, so they make more cow, and the environment is a secondary thing. I think I'm just gonna put this up and move it a little bit like that. And actually, I don't even like that because it's technically clipping into that, and that now made it network. Is that okay? I'm gonna see if I can. There's one of the ones I put in here towards the end, which would be named differently. Oh, that is a much larger pile than I want, but that is fine. So we're going to move this pile out and put it down. We'll put it like... Actually, I want to put it so that it's kind of in front of the other trash. I want this one to basically act as a blocker. So we'll do like... maybe that or something. We're going to put another one. And this one is going to be put so where I can see it. Kinda. Let's say like this. That should be fine. Like that. And then when he goes down, so starting here to here, we're going to have this whole pile drop. And then we're going to have just a little bit of a rebound. Okay, that works, but we're going to do it again. So we're going to take that same pile and we're going to move it. But all this animation for down was based on the root, so I'm just going to turn this one. I'm going to turn it a little bit to the side and spin a little bit just so it looks different. And then we're going to move it back here. So the up and down motion is the same, which is important. And this is probably backwards right now. Okay, so that is fine. So now when this goes down, the impact is basically fine right now, but these back ones I want to have curved just a little bit. So I'm going to grab this root. I have a curve a little more. And extend it just to help create some difference in timing. Alright. Now the other ones that are around it, I don't have to move much. I can just move a little bit. So, where's the... I added 2 here. Okay, so that front one and this one. So this one over time, we're just going to have these shift a little bit outwards. Okay. And then this one, we're gonna do the same thing, just a little bit. Oh no, this one's gonna be tough. Actually, that one, we're not. I can do that one. I just need to add another one to it, because I can see the edge of it. So I'm just gonna put something in front of it so that I can't see the edge anymore. Grab that one again. And hello, headphone. How you doing? I don't really like the look of that. I think that'll work. What we're going to do is we're going to take this one. So I'm just overlapping a lot of these because I don't want to make it look like a big old pile of trash bags that are moving. So I'm going to take this one and I'm basically going to just take the same animation time and I'm just going to like turn it a little bit and rotate it. And what it's going to do is just create like a, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to spread it out. I'm going to have it turn a little bit like this. It's going to look like the trash is pushing on other trash out of the way, to get it out of the way. But I think a lot of this trash, grab some of these last ones here. When they finish their motion, I need to have it drift off a bit more. The trash is going to settle, it's going to move and then kind of shift into its position and slow down. At least that's the way I would see it. They're bags full of mostly air. Okay, and then we're also going to do stag. Actually, that would look better if it was compressed then. Stagger takes all the different bones of the model and just shifts them based on the selection that you have, like this. It takes and essentially does this with all the different bones. So if you're subtle with it, if you do it heavy, it's pretty weird because the ends are still fine. But it will create just a slight bit of random, which is great if you have, say you have a repeated motion of like somebody eating soup, and you do the same animation for the soup. You can go through and basically select most of the bones, and then kind of like, see if it's for this whole section of here is the animation. You go through and like select a piece like this, and then just hit it with a teeny bit of stagger, then select here, teeny bit of stagger, here, teeny bit of stagger, and what you're doing is you're creating these little variances in the motion, so every time they're going through the motion then, it actually looks very subtly different, and that's all it needs to make it look realistic. Super easy. So the trash is going out, but taking out the trash. But I want to find some of the other ones that are right by his head and add a little motion to them too. So like this one could. So this would be like a secondary motion where the trash is being pushed out of the way by the other bags. If I want to turn them just ever so much. I think that's fine. I just want to move it less. Yeah, that's fine. What are some of these other ones? I'm kind of looking for one of the other ones that's by his chin. That was barely visible. No. I'm not too worried about like the chin ones. Which one was that again? 19. That's one that I could do too. See, now it's starting to feel good. This is one of those things like with animation that I find annoying is you know what the finished product you want to have look like is, but sometimes on your way there, it doesn't look like what you want, and so you think you're doing it wrong. And some of these, I wasn't sure that it was looking right, but I just kind of trusted my intuition and just kind of let it go. Like, I'm not, like, this one here popping up, I'm not so sure of, but technically, that could happen.
We made all the bags move.
Because technically, he in the background has his arms moved too. But to me, that's not as impactful. But I can make his head impact a little bit more, which might help here too. So I can have his head go up through this time. Because right now he's dropped, so you can see where it kind of drops there, right here. So that's the same motion I want to try to enhance.
There you go, this one posted tonight.
No, I don't post them at night.
Or do you think you'll have it done tonight?
That's what I want to try to do.
I'm looking forward to it.
Anytime I do the Rathlos things, I tend to set it for 8 o'clock the next morning. And for two reasons. One, it gives the full day for viewing, so that just feels better.
Tuesday.
Huh?
I mean, it's 8 o'clock somewhere everywhere.
Well, it's for the US, but and the second reason is if you put something out right away, it's if you make a mistake, you miss it. But also because it's to me a bad mentality to want to rush things out. So to me, it's about forcing a waiting period on myself. Plus, people like consistency. So if everything comes out at 8 in the morning, it just makes it consistent. Sure. Scheduling and having content that always comes out on a Friday or always out at a specific time is just, people like that more.
Accomplished.
Tired. I feel like he laid down there on purpose and trying to play it off. He's just like so comfortable. It's my bad.
Okay, so I think a lot of this trash, I'm gonna have to back up one frame. No, actually it was the other way around. Delay by a frame. Yeah, because yeah, so I could do anything with his arms, but I just don't think I'm gonna bother. It's like I mentioned before, I can put tons and tons of detail into the face, but when it comes to the arms, all I actually did with that is the beginning here. I had to go down, and the main reason for down is I wanted it to go up. So by putting it down, I'm enhancing the up because I was limited on how far I can go. And I had them go up then down, and partway through, I just have the shoulder or the elbow lift up a little bit and then like just delayed in its motion. That's really all I did. Super simple. All I did was like grab the bone, go shunk, 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 and I was done. And it's very mechanical. I don't care because that is not a focus. All it needs to do is move in relation to the face. So I'm looking at the face. I'm not seeing a static background. It's fine. If you actually watch most animations, they a lot of times will use a rig where like the hand is staying in place and they'll move the thing around it, and it's because it's just easier and it saves time and money. So the stiff motions have the benefit not just of helping maintain your pose to pose and your focus on specific looks in the face, but it also helps in that if you're going between poses, there's a lot less time with the minuscule motions. If you ever see something that's super ultra detailed motion, it's kind of because it's mocapped, and nobody's going to take the time to do some of the subtleties like on here with anything but mocap. It's just really hard to do that with the dragon. There was an SFMer that did mocap for Pony, but it was weird because the ponies were standing. You could tell it was mocap, and some of it was pretty funny, but you could tell it's like, it's weird. It doesn't work. But sometimes weird sells better. Actually, to me, weird sells better than non-weird.
Recyclers.
Okay, I want to make sure his eyes.
Recyclers.
His eyes are, I think, focused, but his head now has that dip from here to here. So at the top bit, he's looking at you. I don't think he's looking at you here. So I'm going to fix that. So it's just about getting it raised a little bit.
Recyclers.
Okay, the other thing is, whenever they blink, the eyes down. And I mentioned this before, but there's always new people. The main reason I do that, every time the eye blinks, I put the eye down a little bit. And that's, again, where I'm trying to show motion in one thing by putting motion in another thing. That just makes it... It's like in relativity where they say if two ships are traveling through space at the same speed, how do you know that you are even moving? If you don't have anything to go in relation to. If the ship next to you is going further ahead from you, is it going faster than you, or are you going slower than it? Or if it is accelerating past you, is it because it is speeding up, or is it because you are slowing down? In terms of relativity, it's the same thing, because it's all based on perspective. So it's the same thing on here. If you want to make the eyes look like they go up, sometimes all you have to do is before then just have it go down, and then when it goes back to its normal, it just looks like it went up. So in here, your eye, if you try to pay attention to how your eye works, your pupil is always going to be maintained almost pretty close to what's inside your eyelids. So if you go to look down, or look like you turn your head up, down, left, and right, and you look in a mirror, you'll see that your eyelids are automatically adjusting to help maintain the amount of light that's coming in by keeping around your eye, and that is important. So like the Rathalos model and the Pony models don't have any built-in mechanism for that. Ponies are really hard because their eyes are so goddamn big. But as the TF2 models actually do, a lot of those, if you would tell the eye to look up or down, the eyelids actually do adjust with it. Ponies are just impossible with that. So what I tend to do with the ponies is that ponies will have the colored portion and then the black in the center. And what I try to do is I maintain that black portion wherever the eye opens or shuts. I try to maintain it within that area. So if they go to look down, or if they're trying to maintain eye contact with you and they look down, I want to open up those eyelids a little bit here. But like in terms of the eye closing, it's the same thing. I don't want to have the eye closing over the pupil. I want to have the pupil starting to maintain in that area. So I bring the eye down instead of the eyelids being in the control. I'm just doing the other way around. So in here, I have the eyes go down, and so that when it raises back up, it comes up with the eyelids. It's a very, very subtle thing, but since I've been doing it, I love it. It's a very, very little thing to do. And I think I ended up watching that in a tutorial about somebody saying as a recommendation. Turns out I don't know anatomy, but it's something that I learned about, and it's actually very useful. So so for like here, that's what I did here. And I did have an example. I think I might have showed it last time. Oh, I don't have, I think I have all those separated. Here they are. Yeah, so, it's fast. But, in here, it's quick to watch, but this one doesn't have that, and this one does. And to me, this looks much, much better. And the only difference between those two is that this one has the eyes moved down with the blink. And it actually adds a lot of life that you don't even think about. And so to me, if there's one little minor detail I'm always going to put in, even if I'm rushing a project, is that, because it is a huge return for a little amount of work. Sometimes it's hard to do, like Rathlos is a little bit more difficult because his eyes are separate. I don't have his rotation of his eyes is tied to where it's looking, while the ponies have a specific point to look at and then a separate motion control, which is where I normally would do that. I would control the up and the down separate with that. With this, I have to put them together, and that makes it so that if I do this type of motion, then it's kind of locked in. But there's the same thing of like, so when he goes down like this, normally I would want to have the top of the eyes go up with it, but at the time, or with what he's doing here in his reaction, I'm having him squint. So if I were to put that up motion, it would offset that and basically make it a non-motion, and so I'm not going to do that at this point.
For saving the planet, recyclers.
But so you see here, he goes from looking, he's got like an angrier look, and then he raises up and it's the same look. This is one port where I could probably find benefit in, at this point, putting that brow down, or brow up a bit more. No, not brow. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have an eye up for him. I have an eye lid lower. So this is, again, if I can't make it up, I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna invert it to down. So I'm going to, when he goes to this position, see if I can instead have it go down. Okay, that's not the right one. A little lower. Because the angry is all included in there, I'm going to remove the angry just a little bit. And that should help offset that. Because I don't want to make it look like his eyes are closed too much.
Mission accomplished.
And for a lot of him, I probably don't need to worry about it. That, to me, is a much smaller detail. But if you have a lot of it is because this is a very zoomed in shot. But it's the up and down motion with the eye, that is too important. I will always do that. So is this basically done?
Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers. Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers. Mission accomplished.
Okay, does he have any reaction? Oh, you know what? I keep forgetting about this. He has... I think I have to show his bones here. There it is. Head crest. I always forget about this. He has this thing he can control. I originally never wanted to use it because it felt weird. I mean, it's like a bunch of bone. It shouldn't move. But it actually adds a lot. So I actually do want to put that in.
Thanks for sitting.
I don't know if I have to worry too much about it here, but I'll try it.
Thanks for saving the. Thanks for saving the. Thanks for saving the. Saving the planet. Thanks for saving the. Thanks.
I feel like it's adding motion to hair. It's motion, and that's all that matters.
Thanks for saving the. Saving the. Saving the planet. For saving the planet. For saving the planet. Saving the planet. Saving the planet. Saving the planet.
Okay, I like that motion. I'm going to reduce all these ones. I don't want to have it be like all over the place. I want it to be a subtle thing.
Thanks for saving the planet. Recyclers.
So now when he goes to this position,
Recyclers.
oh, I was thinking about having it go down, but I think I might actually try going up. The nice thing is I can just go and do it. Let's see what it looks like.
Recyclers. Mission. Recyclers.
So this, I'm going to just put it down till it kind of lead into the bigger up position.
Recyclers. Recyclers.
Okay, and then I'm going to have it bounce when it gets to the top because it's nothing of as a robot.
Recyclers. Recyclers. Planet recyclers. Planet recyclers. Recyclers.
Sometimes the camera just makes that hard. I'm going to look at this from different angles.
Recyclers. Planet recyclers. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
So this one, I want to have it go up.
Mission accomplished.
And I'm going to have it stay there for a second.
Accomplished.
Okay, and this is going to go down to help exaggerate the up.
Mission accomplished.
Sudden ear itch.
Mission accomplished.
Okay, I want to have this more drastic of a down. And I've never actually tried rotating this, but I think it'd be weird.
Mission accomplished. Accomplished.
See if I can do it a lot
Mission
more.
accomplished.
Okay, I'm gonna add to this a little bit more. Go up more. But I want to grab the peak and stretch it out.
Accomplished.
And then when he hits the bottom here, I want him to have it go back. I'll keep that, but again, we're going to have it bounce a little bit because nothing's robotic.
Mission accomplished. Accomplished. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
I think that'll work. Yeah, the pony ears to me are the one annoying thing with the pony ears is that they're slightly different rotations, so that if like you want to bend them in a direction, they're not like if say they're going to swing their head, you have to turn this ear in, and then but this ear doesn't turn the same. You have to basically like turn it out a little different. So basically it feels like you're animating both things differently. The nice thing about this is just up and down. I don't feel like it should ever be like going like this. I can see maybe like a twist like this, but even then, that implies that this side's going to move more. So I guess maybe like this. It's just, if you actually look at how these things are, or how the bones are set up, it just looks a little bit weird going any further with it. But this does come in handy. Though I think if you put it down far enough, you'd have to move this back a little bit. But it doesn't have to be much. It's just about giving that little subtle extra motion. Subtle extra motion.
Thanks for saving the planet. Thanks for.
Oh, actually, I missed the eye going down here. So for his, it's not, and most of them are pony. When I go to do the eye going down, is I will select inside by 1 and then outside by 1 in terms of its rounding, just so that it helps. So I'm not getting the extremes of the motion, but I'm still getting the quicker in and out that I want. And then I will just, you want to make sure local is set too, well, at least for his eyes because of how they're set up. And then look at them. And the main thing is you're looking for is the pupil following the eye down. So I can probably go a little bit more with that. Probably go a bit more still. Yeah, that's pretty good. This one clips, which now, and I know why it does that, because I did not bone this model very well at all. I'm horrible at this. I didn't know how boning the flexes. And so if I have any of the stuff going on in this eye, it just happened to be that everything is pulled in a little bit more than the other side. That's why I never shared this model, because I don't want to deal with people like, this is weird, can you fix it? No, I don't care enough.
Thanks for saving the planet.
Oh, that's the other thing I haven't added.
Thanks for.
So, yeah, the head crest probably moved on them too. The problem is this head crest is only one bone. So thankfully it's weighted really nice where I can use it. But if one bone means limited motion, if you start adding bones, you start adding motion options, but then it also complicates the motion. So it's about finding a balance. To me, I prefer simplicity. It's the reason that I love lip syncing this model, because I set up the lip syncing for what I was looking for. It only has eight of these flexes, plus, was that 5 bones? Yeah. It's just a lot easier. Compared to like the ponies that have 40 or 50 now. You can get a lot of detail, which is great, but at the same time, you're also complicating what you're doing. So now the eyes are.
Thanks for saving the.
So when he goes to do this, so that eye goes down, but he squints here. Squinting is, in a way, like a blink. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take those eyes and put them down.
For saving the planet. Recyclers.
And this one I already did. But when he goes to do his head down, sometimes you can do that.
Recyclers.
Yep, that'll work. And we'll just create a little bit of a bounce with the eyes.
Recyclers. Saving the planet, recyclers. Mission accomplished.
All right.
Thanks for.
But no, the one thing I haven't actually done here is, I sometimes forgotten to do this, is these bones right here. The nice thing about these is I don't really use them for lip syncing. I use them for creating a little bit of extra facial motion for when he's blinking or doing other things. So like here he blinks. So I am going to have these go up. So right now I'm going to go through for the purpose of eye motion. But just the same, he goes in wide here with his eyes. So I want to have it pulled down a little bit. Okay. Again. So I'm going to say that just before he says something here, he's actually going to squint it more. Now this one, he definitely wants to pull these down. And these, I'm going to try doing, I'm going to pull down, and I'm going to match up the bones so that they're about in the same position. Therefore, they should be even with the head. And I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Let's see if I can pull them back a little bit too. Because if I don't do that turn, it's going to start stretching awkwardly or start twisting. Okay, and just beforehand, he needs to go up there. But, oh, he already does go up there. He just needs to start earlier.
Saving the planet, recyclers. Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers. Recyclers. Recycler.
See, that works, but at this same time, I am clipping. So, see if you can adjust it so where it's not clipping, while still not making it look like I'm throwing the bone out of place. Actually, I wonder if I can just twist it that way.
Recyclers, I'm in the planet, recyclers. Recyclers.
I think that I think this is fine. I just need to extend how long it goes.
Recyclers, planet, recyclers.
And then they kind of come back quick, but then extend it for a while.
Recyclers. Mission.
I feel like he's really gonna squint on this one.
Mission accomplished.
And this one, I think I already kind of did, but I'm gonna increase it. You know what, I might keep what I did. I think it's enough. And then this, I'm going to pull in a little bit more, but I'm going to let it drift. Okay, that's eyes. Now, there's also the mouth, and there's certain sounds with that that might actually have an effect on it.
Recyclers. Planet recyclers. Even the planet recyclers. Recyclers. Planet recyclers. Recyclers.
Peace is a complicated thing.
Recyclers. Recyclers. Like saving the planet, recyclers. Recyclers. Mission accomplished.
That is pulling it way back, so that's I'm trying to get the jaw to match with it, and that should be fine. So if you want to do a quick easy preview, your period and your decimal keys, or period and your period and comma keys are for forward and backwards, and if you tap them twice, you'll speed it up. You can actually speed it up quite fast. But if you hold control, every time you hit them, you'll slow it down by half. And that makes it really nice. So if you're trying to see the subtleties of animation, I'll just go and select a bit before and then like hit it 3 times. And that's because I think, does this start? Okay, so if you hit it control and then the first time it doesn't do anything, it's just play, but every time after that it slows it down. So if I hit it 3 times, it slows it down to 1/4. And that really helps for being able to see some of the subtleties of the animation that I might miss. And you might also think, well, why would it matter? You're probably not going to notice it. Yes and no. You might not notice some of the subtleties right now, but when you have it rendered and it's at a consistent frame rate, sometimes you do notice it. So I'm just trying to be proactive on it. When his eyes close here, he is overly closed, and so I want to offset that a little bit. Make sure the other one is showing closed. So the other one is overly closed, but it's harder to see. It's only that way because I am poor at my job of setting these up. Technically, if I knew what I was doing, it should be fine, but I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to adding flexes. I am better than I was when I started, but I'm still not that great. But that is fine. Learning experiences. There's actually, I was watching a YouTube channel just recently. Like I said before, I had a really rough day with the audit yesterday, and so I just wanted to sit down and veg. I didn't really want to do anything. And I almost didn't stream tonight because of that too, because I thought today was going to be the same, but thankfully it wasn't. But I ended up watching about a guy that was making a Final Fantasy VII Sword of Cloud, and it was just a cam. The guy's popular, has a really big following, but he's just camming himself working on stuff. But his mentality for everything was endearing, where he made a mistake, and it was a big mistake and was going to take a lot of effort to fix, and his way of pushing through that trouble solving was he was kind of like, I'm angry at myself for doing this, but I'm going to fix it. But then he had another one where he had a bucket of 3D printed stuff that was wrong, and he had spent hours and days trying to figure out this problem, and he had the bucket of all the mistakes, and he just put it down, and he says, this is not a bucket of mistakes, it's a bucket of lessons learned. And that is super, super great outlook, that when you do something wrong, there's nothing wrong with doing it wrong. It's about learning from it and growing and becoming better. So it's the quickest way to learn is to mess up. So you can't learn how to do something right without learning how to do it wrong. And so just being able to see somebody that was taking that mentality of, I messed up all this time, but in doing it, I learned how to do it right and grew from it. And that actually helped get me out of my funk yesterday. And it's all stuff I knew, but it was just a nice reiteration of hearing it again. So when people are like, I'm not good at this, and how do I get better? And it's like, you get better by doing it wrong. So you may not be that good right now, but you will be. Just give it time. Okay, yeah, these two eyes are so bad. I just don't care. But I learned. I still don't know how to do it 100% correctly. But I don't care because it works with what I have. Okay, and I think all his closes from that are good. So I think this is good.
Saving the planet, recyclers. Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers. Saving the planet, recyclers. For saving the planet.
I think this is all his chest motion.
The planet, Saving the planet, recyclers.
It's the motion of the arm here was kind of bugging me. Can I grab his elbow? I only care about this one. Left elbow.
Saving the planet and the planet.
So this is about putting it up a little bit. It's the anticipation of the motion, and then the reaction to the motion.
Saving the planet. Recycler. Recyclers. Recyclers. Mission in the planet. Recyclers. Mission in a car.
So this, I'm going to bring down his elbow just a teeny bit, and this elbow a teeny bit, only because that makes I might need to spread that out a little bit. And then I'm going to take Okay, take these bits and we're going to round them out even more too. So there's a little bit of lead up motion.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Mission
So these, the shoulders are going down, but the elbows, these from the way I would see it, are still going to be in something.
Mission accomplished.
So they're going to counter that motion.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, that looks a lot better. So sometimes it's just, you just move it a teeny bit and all it does is cause the pixels to change position on the screen. The only thing I need to add now, actually there's kind of two things, is to split the camera. So right now this is one shot. I do not want that as one shot. I want that as two shots. I was keeping it as one shot because it just made it easier to animate across. But the reason I want to separate it is because these cameras, I want to give a little bit of motion. And this is again for creating the illusion of motion. So I'm not actually doing it so that I'm not creating motion, but if it shifts and moves on the screen, because if you have a video with no camera motion and no animation, every pixel of the station is just a picture. So if you don't have any camera motion at all, everything that's not moving is a picture. But if you have some kind of a camera sway, like somebody's camera with a handheld camera, it adds a lot of extra depth. So that is the point here, is to do that. So normally to do that, I would just select a small bit of space and hit it with just a teeny bit of jitter, not much at all, and then make sure you select transform, select everything. It's going to get messy. I'm going to lock that in, and then I'm going to just stretch it way the hell out. We'll do it to there.
Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers.
Okay. And now we're going to smooth the crap out of it. I don't want it to be jagged.
The planet, recyclers.
It's still moving them way more than I want. But the nice thing is I have a selection, so the base positioning is still over here. So I'm going to hit that within, which is going to select the spot way over here, and it's going to reduce it to whatever my original bit stuff was. So I'm going to go to there, and that just reduces the motion. And now I'm going to smooth it again, because that positioning in SFM, like which are the red, green, and blue lines, do not like slight motion, which is what I'm adding. Anytime you add any of it, it's got to be smoothed out a lot. And as soon as you go to do anything with this camera in terms of motion, it's going to completely destroy it. So once you do this, it's stuck. And I could go through and round every edge, but smooth does it.
Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers.
I'm still thinking that...
Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers.
I think I might turn... Oh, no, I can't really... Yeah, if I change the camera's position now... Yeah, I'm going to destroy it. Thought about moving it down. Well, let's see. If I do, I would be, let's just do it on the work camera. If I move it down just like that.
Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers.
I do like it moved down a little bit. And I have a feeling I might not care enough, but we'll try something. So if it does come down to certain subtle motions, sometimes you just lock the camera to another model, but I don't know if that's going to break it again. yeah, it's going to break it. So that doesn't work, but that's fine. I'm just going to leave it. And the only thing I don't like about it is if you think about the average head's position, which is going to be from, to me, like the eyebrow line to the bottom of the jaw, during this point, it actually goes off camera. But the point of that is I wanted to try to keep it less trash. But a couple of these points, it just feels like you're towards the bottom of the camera, which is weird. But that's fine.
Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers.
And I think for this shot, I'm actually going to remove that sign completely. If I don't, nobody's going to notice that there was a difference between the two. Alright, and now we're going to do the same thing in here for the camera. Transform. Teeny bit of jitter. And now this is further away, so the motions are harder to see. So this might actually work with how it is.
Mission accomplished.
Oh, that's still a little bit too much. So I'm going to do more in, and then I'm actually going to slow it down a bit more too.
Mission accomplished.
I am really, really bad with how I time mouth lip syncing. And it is a difficult thing because your ear is getting it at one point and it's going to be registered at another. Sometimes it depends on the frame rate if that it's going at. I have in Final adjusted the audio a frame or two because I found that it was off a little bit, but I've also adjusted it too far in the wrong direction, thinking it felt better when it really didn't. There's actually, it's kind of a diversion from such, but there is a research bit that was done in regards to audio delay, and I think it was in regards to football games, of how to delay audio that is heard with talking compared to people. And they were saying, what do people prefer? The voice, should the audio be put on time with, or even before the voice, or after? And so they found what was the comfortable median for voices being heard with the showing of that sound being made. And they found that if it's a weird graph with it. So what it ended up being was, if you were to say that the like the point right now where this is the point that the actual sound happens, and compared to the where people prefer hearing it, what it ended up actually looking like was that is nobody preferred to hear the audio before it being said, but if you delayed it, there was a lot more room for comfort. And the reason they think that that's the case is because in your brain, you're compensating for lots and lots of different things in the world. And one of those is the delay takes sound to get to you. So if somebody yells at a distance, your brain knows that there is the chance that the audio is going to come to you slower or for some other reason. But the audio should never get to you before the source shows it. So your brain is wired to allow this lag for comfort, but it does not want to have the opposite. So if you're ever wondering about mistiming, it's okay to go a little bit, or to have the mouth moving a little bit before the audio, but if you're not sure, it's better and safer to do it that way. So if you're thinking that it is a little bit afterwards, or the move slides after the voice starts, then that's the wrong direction. So then that would be something I would want to double check. But if it was the other way, you felt like, well, it looks like the lips are moving, or the sound is a little bit afterwards. Well, that's fine. Whatever. It's an interesting article. They actually had the full graph for it. And it was just, stupid things I know, but things that actually come in handy for this kind of thing. But if we slow it down,
Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers.
it sounds fine.
Mission accomplished.
See, it looks fine, but I think sometimes if you're doing a preview with it and then the frame rate's changing variable or lower, it's so hard to time it to where I have to go slower through it. But then even then, sometimes it doesn't feel right and it's just safer to delay it. The nice thing is most of the time with a lot of this audio, there's nothing that's going to be affected by moving it a couple frames in one direction or another in terms of the audio. Even if there's stuff that's cut off right at the beginning of a frame or not something, it's fine even if that audio is like here instead. It's usually fine. You're not going to notice it too much. So in post, once I actually have the render and a consistent frame rate, I'll double check that more. And I have probably over half the time I move the audio like one frame, one direction or another. It's the test for it is I move it and does it feel better. It's like you just go for the gut feeling, because like I said, your brain is wired for a lot of this stuff. So just see what your brain tells you. If you move, I've had it before where I was still having such difficulty with it that I started like counting the amount of frames until it felt awkward, and then I moved it the other direction, and then I just found the median between those extremes and called that the good margin. So that, yeah, it's so I know you're saying it's an important thing, and I have one of these Rathos ones that I actually mistimed it, but I think the lip syncing is fine. I mistimed some of the other audio to move with some of the other motion, and it's just causing me to feel like it's mistimed. It's weird. But I think, the other thing is one last thing. I actually have to restart the software because I need to open up a second library. I have too much stuff in my SFM where it's a 32-bit program that I can only index so much library space. So if I open the model library, because I have added so much over the years, that it will crash if I open a second library when I want to open the audio library. So I'm just preemptively restarting it. So I'm going to go to, I need to mute that. I'm going to go with effects. We're outside. I don't want silence other than talking. So I want forest. That sounds fine. Oh, perfect. Could do the whole thing.
Thanks for.
Why don't I hear it though?
For saving. Thanks for saving the mission.
No.
Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers.
Okay. And yeah, that's why down here in memory it shows 2000. That's just for the stuff that was loaded. I just loaded the library, so it's going to buff it up a little bit. And once the library is loaded, though, if I give it time, it will start purging it if other things are more important, but it'll take time. Okay, yeah, good. See you later, Bird. I'm going to be ending soon too. But once it starts hitting like 3300, then it will crash because it just can't address anymore. So I have the forest, but he has other motion that's going on here.
Thanks for saving the planet, recycler.
So like, my favorite effect noise, and actually I'm going to put this under music. Because it's not really an effect, it's an ambience thing. And we are going to, there's slight motion that does add things to here, and it's not about finding, like, I want to find the sound that a scale makes against trash bags. No, my favorite, my default is from Stanley Parable, and I'm hoping that I still have it in here. Yes, I do. Oh, there it is. So Stanley Parable, Carpet Medium. I love these. all it is little sound of feet on carpet, and they have 15 of them, and all it is little like brushing noise. But it is amazing for use of just slight motion to make it sound like something is interacting with something. So, exactly, this kind of sounds like trash bags. So, I'm just going to put this anytime he does something.
For saving the planet.
So, like, I'm more worried about his arm back in the back.
Saving the planet.
And I think with how loud he is and everything else, I'm going to turn this down a little bit.
Thanks for saving the planet.
And some of these being short, I'm probably not going to hear them.
Planet recycle.
It's more of, I like adding it because sometimes the subtlety is, I might not hear it, but somebody will.
Recyclers. Mission.
So some of these are whoosh whoosh and some are just whoosh. So I want a single one for this because it's a single motion. That's a good one.
Mission.
This one I can probably get away with just a single double.
Accomplished.
So I'm going to mute these so I hear just that sound. So this is a little off. So this, I probably can double up 2 of these. Okay, when he does this impact though with his head, that's a much louder sound. That I want to try to find some kind of other impact sound. And I am also noticing that the trash bag for this is not timed right. That's better. Okay, so what other type impact sound fits here? Is there like a trash bag? I mean, I'll search trash, but oh. I'm gonna search a word that I don't like normally searching for because it can be loud, and that is impact. Okay, good. There used to be like a saw blade that would go wow every time. I think that's down here. Yeah, it's always that one. So yeah, I didn't want to hear it, and then I did it anyway. So I need to find something that works. This is another one. Portal 2 has 32 different versions of a clipboard hitting the sound for medium, 32 for small, and 28 for large. Like 80 or over 90 audio bits for a clipboard. What's this about? See, this ends abruptly, and I don't like that. Otherwise, the sound kind of works. So it's not metal. It's not tile, not metal. There's so many. Is there a soft impact? But yeah, if you need impact sounds, SFM has tons. Okay, those are scripted sequences and they're not gonna work. Yeah, that's voiceovers. Those are weapons. So I think, oh, maybe. Just use a meteor impact. And some of these, depending how it is, I can change the tempo of it and make it work. Might be able to make that work. So this is where I could change this. I can't remember its direction. No. Because I'm expecting it to be a lower sounding noise. I think I'm just going to go back to those flesh noises. Those are robot impacts. So I think those are the closest that I found for it. I wish it wasn't hard. Like, if you put the adjective there, I would think it mean because there's something not hard. Kind of like the sound of this one, but it's the double hit. And this sounds just so, it's just hard. I don't like that. Well, you know what? Let's do impact flesh. And see if maybe is other ones that it's other games we're using or something. Oh, it's too squishy. Try this one.
Mission accomplished. Accomplished.
I think that could work.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. 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 Accomplished.
So I had that boom boom, like that little reaction noise to it. So I just shrunk it down to within that noise, then added a fade out of about 0.1 seconds, which is like it's 110. But it's gonna only cover like this little section right here, which is gonna reduce the noise of that second bounce, but still let it fade away. So hopefully that works, because short audio files with changes like that don't preview right. It sounds right.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
Okay, and then the last thing is, did I set up the focal plane? I did.
Mission accomplished.
And that should still be fine. Okay. I might change it here though. Only because that last it's not it's focused on the middle of his head. I want it to focus on his eye. Or at least close to.
Mission accomplished.
Okay.
And it recyclers.
I think this one could be moved teeny bit forward. And then I think I am done. Okay, middle of the eye, back of that eye. Okay. I'm gonna call it done. It's done.
Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
So I do hear the carpet noise on this one. I'm gonna slow it down just a teeny bit because it's a little bit slower of a motion. So it'll be a deeper, longer sound.
Mission.
Okay.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
That'll work.
Mission accomplished.
And that is...
Accomplished. Mission accomplished. Planet recyclers.
Never actually add anything for the nose. I usually did it for breathing, but I wonder if I can...
Recyclers. Thanks for saving the planet. Thanks for saving the planet. Recycle.
Yeah, I think it's the only times.
Thanks for saving the planet, recyclers. Mission accomplished.
Okay, that's all I really needed. Should I have a little more here, though? See, this is the problem. I can tweak things forever.
Accomplished.
It's good. It's good. I'm calling it. I'll render it tonight then. So I'm only over by a lot. So I got it done though. Okay. I will. Now this done. I'll put this out probably tomorrow morning, and Friday we'll start work or go back to working on the pony thing. So cool. Progress. So, anyways, have a good night. Thanks for chilling and conversing. That's always fun. It's with the stress of the audit. It's actually been. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stream or not, but it's nice being able to have some normalcy. So I appreciate it. Have my cat. Yeah, my cat. And see you Friday, maybe. Have a good one. Bye, bye.